Yo, what is up? Part 3. Time to go to ZBrush. Gotta figure that out today. Tested it a little bit, so I'm gonna try to get it to actually work today. There are a lot more high quality assets on the marketplace now. Like it's like noticeable. Like 2022 was like a switch over. There are a lot more character artists here. So I don't know if they're chasing. I'm wondering what ticked it over for them. Um, Before, to have like a character and it be rigged for a face, it was like only one or two people were doing that, and I knew both of them by name and talked to them. Um, but now there's a whole bunch more, so that's pretty cool. Now they're not metahumans though, so we're still like it's cool that we're switching and we're having mediocre. Let's just be real, like mediocre face rigs, and it's on like the old mannequin skeleton. So it's kind of like this would have been great to have like 3 years ago when I was working at this level. Whereas like, oh, we just need like a couple blend shapes and like a jawbone or something like that. But now with the metahuman stuff, this stuff falls really flat for anything I'm producing. So it's cool, but it's still like 3 years late. But it's interesting to see more of that. There's a conversation to be had about why there's so much military content on here right now, but that's cool too. And yeah, just like some nice looking characters. Actually, did I open it? Oh yeah, man in a suit. Yeah, I gotta make a suit. Um, so I've officially started working on the Cinetracer 4.27, which was never part of the plan, but Unreal Engine 5 is gonna. I mean, I don't know when, but I could see it coming out like late 2022, and so that's way too late for me to release something. That would be basically 2 years. Look at all the military stuff. Pretty cool, but that would basically be like 2 years between releases for me. So that's too much. So I'm looking to actually do like kind of a midway update. So I've been doing a lot of programming in 4.27 already, and all my MetaHuman work is actually Unreal Engine 4.27 anyway. So that kind of works out perfectly actually. So I wonder why it took me so long to get there. I want to make this like exact same thing from scratch. I am pretty confident I can make this entire thing in Maya and a little bit of ZBrush. Don't need Marvelous for this anymore. Marvelous did help me like kind of get to understand how clothing gets put together. Like I wouldn't have thought to, like in 3D, like this is just one hull, but to approach modeling it with the fact that this is like a separate piece of fabric, like this got seamed together, and then this sleeve has a cut down here, and then it has the suits naturally have this kind of arc pattern. Seeing how Marvelous does it is helpful, and I still could prototype in Marvelous to try to get like a good fit, kind of for free, and like a base model to like read topology on. So there's a chance that I have to go buy Marvelous because like I was using personal evaluation license, but I could buy Marvelous, kind of prototype with it. But generally, Marvelous is kind of slow. It's like I don't know. It's faster than it used to be, and my computer's really fast. But it's slow to simulate and set it all up. It's like where I can just hop into Maya and just start quad drawing this thing out and have proper topology. Versus like the workflow would be like Marvelous to ZBrush, sculpt it up, and then still quad redraw over. And I'm like, I'll just start from quad redraw. What's the point? But yeah, I very much need this type of clothing. For Cinetracer 4.27 now actually, so I need it like now, like really really now. So I am gonna finish this. Oh, these are perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna make this like whole set for the MetaHuman though. I feel like yeah. I've been trying to look into how to the approach for this. Like there is a way. The 3D Max users are really good at this. Like I bet Pascal knows the idea with this one. It's like before there was sculpting, before there was that kind of stuff. High poly, you would low poly model the folds in, and that's not something I ever learned. It's something I'd like to kind of pick up in the future though. Yeah, okay, so this skeleton is a no. Like I mean, I could take this asset and reskin it to the MetaHuman, but I don't really. I need to own these. I need to own the asset myself, ideally. What's up, Bilal? Question: can I get facial capture on Android or normal camera without iPhone? Yeah, use Faceware. Look up Faceware Studio. You can use. I don't know about Android, but you could use a GoPro or like a webcam. That would be the move. This skeleton is a no. We don't rig like this. And I was talking to a bunch of character riggers about, and Vicon too, about how like everyone does shoulders differently. Like look at these arm placements. Like these clavicle placements. Just like what? So this is like pelvis, spine, 1, 2, 3. It turns out you don't animate the MetaHuman spine 5, which I like. I forget where I learned that. But I'm building a new control rig also. I spent yesterday building a new MetaHuman control rig, and I don't use spine 5. Like it's just kind of like a placement bone or something. But this spine's crazy. Like this is like old school gaming skeleton, which I wish that's what MetaHumans were, but they're not. So yeah, and then so this is like very. I think Unreal Engine 5 is gonna give it to us because like there's gonna be probably some sort of updated avatar, but we have to like burn with fire these default Unreal Engine animations with the shoulders and these the mannequin, the running animations are so far forward, they're so masculine, and the shoulders are so crazy. Like we gotta kill these. I guess we have Echo, but not that many people, and then Echoes are like super feminine. I don't know. I just think we need like a nice neutral human walking pose. I use ALS for that. Is ALS free? I think ALS is free because the developer works at Epic now. But anyway, we got to stop using these mannequins. These are just no good. And then when you have shoulders like that, just like, and then the run and the feet slide, and it's just a bad look. And every character artist uses them, so it's just really bad. It just looks. It makes it look so much worse than it could be. These gloves, I kind of just made these too. Yeah, pretty much extruding a little bit of sculpting, like a little bit of folds. It's pretty much what I'm going for. But the quality of character art has gotten better. Oh yeah, this is the move right here. This is the kind of detailing I'm going to be doing today. I like the rope too. I am moving kind of back into game development mode, but if I was staying in character world, I would definitely go for like a Sekiro / like kind of Naruto mix hybrid kind of character like this. It's pretty fun. I also haven't figured out how I want to personally handle feathers and fur. I don't think I want to go groom for that. I've been seeing some like really high-end grooms. Maybe I don't know. Grooms means X-Gen, and X-Gen is painful, like really painful. But if I go high-end, it could be X-Gen. I have Maya now, full Maya. Could be X-Gen, like actual strand hair, or it could just be cards, and you use Arnold to bake grooms to cards, and then you just draw quad strips. Or ZBrush. There's a lot of different workflows for it, but I haven't figured out mine for like one of the Witcher characters that you have like fur on the neck or something like that, like this guy basically. A lot of different workflows, but I'm kind of staying away from that for now. Okay, so let's see. So I kind of been distracted now. I've been doing a lot of like programming, kind of framework testing. I have the MetaHumans. I have everything set up in 4.27 for Cinetracer now. So basically, when I finish a skin and I finish a full, what the hell is this? Gozy update. What's that? This is Gozy update. What's this thing? What if I click this? I don't want to click that. Gozy update. What the? I'm gonna close that for now. Maybe there's an update to this. But basically now with the direction that my game Cinetracer is gonna go, tested a build. Everything is good. I could push it to Steam now with a couple new interesting things in it. Everything's updated. When I finish a MetaHuman skin like this, or a suit, something more useful, like no one needs this for the people I make software for. When I finish a skin of a MetaHuman, or I finish an animation from Vicon, like clean it up, I can ship those like into production, ship them like next month now. I'll have a place to do that. So that's kind of like a new motivation for these mocap MetaHuman projects and these skin projects, is that these go live to users like that night if I wanted to. I kind of batch them into like monthly updates usually. So that's kind of fun. This went from like kind of like R&D level stuff into like, nope, we're gonna ship. This is gonna go to people's computers. So that's kind of like a new motivation for this. It's kind of nice. So if we want to get all of this high poly stuff, sub D, right? I would call this base mesh. These are like perfect base meshes to sculpt on because they're subdivision surfaces, which means they'll subdivide, and they're just nice bases for sculpting. The question is, how do you get all of this into Maya or into ZBrush? you could export each piece one by one and re-input them one by one into ZBrush, or you can use this button where you literally just select everything and you hit one button and it all goes there. So that's what we're going to be using. And so when you use GoZ properly, because I have full Maya and ZBrush, this workflow turns into like magic. It's super awesome. And it's not to say there aren't issues with it, but it's the full workflow. When I was using Maya, LT, and ZBrush, that's pain, man. Like if you have like 100 accessories or something, like it just managing it is like a full-time job. It's not fun. What's up, Loco? Ziva, I've seen what they're doing, and I think I'm connected to like the owner and a couple of their like, marketing people on LinkedIn, but I haven't done anything with them yet. I haven't really looked into it. I'm pretty into the MetaHuman standard because of how tightly it works into Unreal Engine, and it's licensed to be in games, and I make games, so it's just very straightforward for me to put them into like commercial games. I'm not really that interested in learning another face solver or face rig, but it looks cool. For the indie people, I doubt that. We'll see. So it's a face trainer though. Like, where are you gonna get the 3D model of the head? Isn't it just a trainer? It's like a really good retargeter. I don't know the full thing, but I don't believe it's a character generator though. So where are you gonna get this pre-rigged head? Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my kind of like quick read on it. Like it's kind of like ISCO and like a couple other. I've worked with like a couple different face rigging vendors and auto riggers and mocap retargeters and whatnot, but pretty much none of them give you MetaHuman, which is the rigged face head, like the mesh with the bones, with the rig logic, with the retargeter from ARKit or from whatever you want. So you still need a face though. So I don't know where that comes in. But it's cool. The demo looked nice, but I still don't understand the business or like what it is. Or the pricing. And that goes for a lot of these startups in this space, because if you ever see the word metaverse or something like that with these companies and they're marketing it, those products will probably never hit the market. Okay, this is stuff I don't want to talk about on the live stream actually, because then it makes these VODs have to go away. But anyway, if you ever see those words in there, they're looking to get sold and acquired, and they're never going to actually make products that people use, especially indie users. Like that's not typically what happens to that type of software. Okay, so as a test, our goal is to take all the sub-D stuff. So let's hide all the low poly stuff. I could be wrong. It's just my take on it. I'm trying to like protect myself like mentally from. I guess I'm gonna take this too. I'll duplicate it. I'm trying to protect my time because 2022 I have pretty much now committed to being production mode, meaning like I ship these. This is going to games that people pay for. So I spent an entire year in R&D phase of like, I'll just try anything, whatever. Let's see what sticks, what works. And I kind of have my pipeline, and now I just want to ship. I actually want to make production things. So stuff like that is kind of like R&D. It's a little bit of a liability for me to spend time on it. Versus like pretty much Maya, ZBrush, Unreal Engine, MetaHumans is like, I can ship, and at a higher quality, especially, and with Vicon, it's like I can ship at a higher quality level than pretty much any indie. Like there's only like 2 other studios and they have like 50 to 100 employees, which is still indie. And I'm like, well, mine's not a game, but the assets and the quality that I can produce that, I was like, I'm not that far from you. And integrating anyone else into that pipeline is kind of like, might just take away too much time. So this is the low poly. I think I'm gonna save as. I'm gonna start like, oh, I didn't know you could click that. Okay. What? No, what? Okay. I didn't realize you could click this home button. That's kind of new. Click that by accident. I have nothing against them. I have very little faith that it's something I would use. Just like immediately look at it and I'm like, probably not. Okay, we're gonna prep. We're gonna say ZBrush. So if I completely like destroy this and like delete stuff by accident, we can come back to 03. Need to get this all in there and hide this. This is the body. Oh, what happened to my... Oh, hold up. No, I guess I didn't duplicate this. So yeah, so it becomes like this management thing, especially going back to Substance Painter is even harder because then you have low polys of everything that have to get materials and vertex colors, and you have the high polys. No, the vertex colors go on the high polys. Anyway, it's a lot of managing assets. So doing this once for me is very important because for Cinetracer, even if I'm not doing a human or a metahuman, I might be doing like a camera dolly or like film equipment or some set piece that like only I can build, like because like film industry people don't basically do this stuff yet still. It's going to be the same workflow, even if it's not a character. It might be like just some sort of hard surface asset or something. The body, is this what I added in there? Well, we definitely want to take this just to look at. And where did this go? Okay, it's in here now. Okay, so hopefully everything we're looking at is in this subd folder. And I'm going to start deleting out the like work in progress history one. So this, at this point, the bin's all done. So like if it's not in there now, we're not going to bring it. Another subd thing. What's this? Gloves. Yeah, I have like a bit of prep to do here. Bunch of low poly boot things. At this point, we don't need those. I'll be retopoing or extracting out of these. I'm going to kind of make a new folder in this one. Ooh, oh yeah, called like bin, just to visually simplify what's happening. So I need to get this organized and named. So to start, if I grab this chest, let's grab like this, and I want to send this to ZBrush. With these names, if I click Go Z, see if that worked. Okay, they're kind of there. Oh, I see the polysphere is still here, so we'll delete this. What the heck? There it is. I don't know where they were. I still don't know where they are in the world. Oh, you know what they are? They're up in the air. That's what it probably is. Like there, like that's the floor, and they're up here. So they come right in. I have this set up, which is in preferences and blah blah blah, that when I export from Maya, they come into ZBrush as separate subtools and retain their name, which is important. So I don't know what you would call these. Like this is like the upper node. This is like a group node, like a parent node, a null in like Cinema 4D. I forget what you call it in Houdini. But anyway, each one of these pieces, if we're in like ZBrush mode, we kind of think of them as subtools. So like the tool itself, I kind of consider this. And then each subtool is a mesh here, and they're named. And the naming is really important when you go to Substance Painter, because you have to keep the names, the name of the thing underscore load, the name of the thing underscore high, and how you merge them together and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this really tight, basically subtool match here to subtool match here is why this workflow works. If you don't do that, it's a nightmare. And then like one like comma or like, you know, I'm sure it's case sensitive, like one missed, you know, case thing or whatever, typo ruins the whole workflow. So this GoZ thing is pretty nice. So then now, just to test it back the other way, if I take this stuff, yeah, that's gonna subdivide pretty nice. Hey, what's up, original? How's it going? So I finally have GoZ, and I have the full pipe here, ZBrush to Maya. So now if I take this thing and I hit Control D, Control D, Control D, still low, 34,000. So around 130,000, we have this now nice sculptable piece. So I'm gonna just test sending this back and forth. This makes things so much better, but it does require full Maya, so it's expensive, or however you need to get yourself a copy of it. This is like the full workflow of it. Okay. See how this is doing. A lot of nothing. That's interesting. Huh, what's up with this? Z subfocal shift. Is it just too small? Did this come in at like a funny scale? Is this thing like massive? We got to bring in the MetaHuman to check. I'm going to actually do it one more time. So 500,000. If you brought it, when you bring in 500,000, I think the scale's wrong here or something. But if you bring in 500,000, oh no, Damien standard tool is just a small brush in general. But if you bring this many polygons into Maya, it like just crashes. Like it can't handle it. Where ZBrush, it's like, oh sure, like 500,000, like no big deal. You can just start sculpting into it. This is a beautiful pattern, right? You can just start drawing on it in Z depth. I think I brought this in at the wrong scale. This is like massive or something. I'm gonna have to check this. You can just start sculpting at 500,000. Like, ZBrush has been around for a long time, but I think people take for granted or don't know like what this program is actually doing and why it's like this random, honestly very weird 2.5D sculpting app. Whoever like architected it understands something about polygons that no one else in the industry understands. Like, Autodesk wasn't able to make a comparable version. I heard 3D Code's pretty good. As good as Blender sculpting tools are, they're not even like a 100th of what this ZBrush thing is doing. Like, just this isn't even that many polygons. We go to like 10 million and I'm just like, no big problem. I can't even send this back to Maya, because if I send it back to Maya, it's going to crash because Maya can't handle this many polygons. Houdini, not sure, maybe. So unfortunately, if I go Z this one at the moment, I think you lose the subdivisions. I'm not sure. So I'm going to delete lower, and then this is like when you're done sculpting it. Like, we came in, we did this high poly. We want to send this back to Maya. Before, I was like exporting tools and re-importing them and blah, blah, blah. So that's awful. So what we would do is decimate, preprocess current, because I don't want 500. 500 is not bad. I want to kind of bring it back at like the 100 to 200. Like, I'm only going to be making 2K normal maps. So and depending on how I UV this and how many pieces go on the UV sheet, I don't have that many pixels to describe this anyway. So we don't need the like 2 million super high poly, like 8K normal map. Like, I'm sure the MetaHumans are authored at. Like, I'm not looking for that. So let's make this thing like 150 polygons and decimate current. So now this piece is only 75. It's not so bad. So now if I click on this one and I do, it's going to do all the, you can basically go back to Maya, current subtool. So just this one, that's kind of what I want. Everything or only what's visible. So I'm going to try just this one, see what happens. That one didn't work so well. So I was expecting this one to come back. Let me try. So that was supposed to be current subtool, but let me try just visible. You do have to set this up correctly the first time. It's like same thing with bridge in Unreal Engine. Okay, so I don't see it. Let me see. I had this working yesterday, but this is the part I need to get figured out. But that's the idea, is that, well, at least we got it to ZBrush. Everything named here stays. It's all just becomes a subtool. You divide it, you sculpt it, and then you send it back. And you can go back and forth as much as you want, but it's like that saves like a lot of time and makes it lighter. And then it's like, oh, because it's so easy, I'll make lots of things. Versus if you have to export every single one of these by yourself, import them, sculpt them, bring them back, it's like you're kind of like de-incentivized, or whatever the word is, to like do lots of them, right? It's like it takes so long, let's not do too many. But if it's nice and quick, it's like, oh, let's do a lot. So that's why we do this. It didn't work though. So let's see. There's a possibility, again, that I just don't know this workflow properly. It may not like it being in this null, because I bet it looks at the high level. So I'm going to save again, and I'm going to pull everything out of the null. Maya, Unreal Engine, and ZBrush, they all have, that's not what I want to do. They all have very strict hierarchy rules. Same with skeletons, same with getting animations out, same with retard. All of this stuff, it's like if you're one step off, it's like, nope, it just doesn't work. So I'm going to pull this all out of here, because I'm thinking about like if you're writing this GoZ script, you're like, okay, go to like the main bin, the main world. Like, this is the world. You're like, get all objects in world. And then you start sorting through the high level. You don't start digging into each subgroup, right? You're just like, what's up here? So I'm going to try it again. Hey, what's up, Jason? So still in testing mode. Let's start this over. This is the other thing that's kind of nice, is like, you just bang out a new one. It's like really easy. No. Actually, so the ZBrush kind of freaks me. I'm still like, I only have one way I understand this, and it's to click a new project like this, and you're automatically editing a subtool. That's all I understand. The scale seemed off to me, so that kind of scares me a little bit. I don't know if you need to freeze transforms. Everything should be at normal scale for the most part. Okay, so this isn't, so this kind of worries me. I bet you need to freeze transform everything. I'm not positive, but this time let's try to send the body, this upper thing, this one, and this, oops, and this. I mean, eventually we send everything, but okay, so I only see 3 things selected. So where's this? Where's this? Where's this? Where are you? Okay, now I see 4. I don't know, maybe I just clicked things wrong. Let's send these to ZBrush. Okay, only 2 of them came through, so this is already sucking. And they're there, but are they huge? Okay, there's something's wrong. Something is wrong here. Maybe you send them one by one? Anyway, this is the word I need to figure out. Now, is this thing massive? Hold on. Like, if I go to standard tool, okay, so the scale is wrong. Like, this is 1,000. That's insane. 1,000 is normally, like, really big. So, oh, you know what? It might have even sent it back. Anyway, let's try this. Huh, this worked the other day. But anyway, I need to get this. I think the scale's off by like 100 or something like that somewhere. But I need to try to get this all working. Okay, so I guess we'll do the shirt. So divide. That's still not enough. 500,000 is pretty good. Just take a standard. Okay, so the scale is insane. Something's really wrong. We're in the wrong scale, but anyway, you start coming in and like sculpting folds on this, right? And then here, really common is to do something like this. You sculpt X's, and you sculpt Y's, and you sculpt, well, this one, so the fabric is coming from here and draping down. Though we're doing game sculpting, we're not doing like maquette sculpting, so you kind of want to be kind of minimal with folds, because the same fold will be here if the arm is up or the arm is down, so you don't want to actually build in too much sculpty. But anyway, it's draping from here and it's pinching here. And so you do like Y's, you can do Z's, and then you can kind of just take, like bands like this, and then you start to just like bring all the folds together. Hold Alt and you push in. I'm doing like a really fast, crappy job because I just want to get this back to Maya. You basically push in the opposite of those main folds that you drew. Even Damien standard. And then you smooth out the like weird intersection-y parts. And then you just get good. That's pretty much it. But that's like the general idea. So like even like that really shitty quick sculpt, it's like starting to turn into folds with no blends yet. But the idea is to take this thing, low poly shirt, that will crash Maya, or it's likely to. So we delete the lower subdivision. You can decimate, you can ZRM mesh, like whatever. We're going to retopo it. But for now, we'll just pre-process current. Not that bad. When it's in like the 10 millions, you can kind of take a break while this pre-processes. Decimate to 150, which is real decent. 60, okay? And no noticeable, like this is gonna crash Maya. Even this might crash Maya. If you tried to like start doing like poly selects in Maya with this, you would crash. So we're going to try to go Z back. So something's wrong with my go Z here, I feel like. I need to go check out the settings. It was really weird. It goes Z's and it like tries to go through like every possible app that it could be. And I'm like, at the end, I was like, no, use Maya. So the scale is wrong, I think, too. But let's see here. I would like to only send back the current subtool. But yeah, it's not quite that. So let's turn off. I mean, if I do this, the sphere should be here. So let's send back all visible. So is it going to make 2 copies? Does it overwrite it? I don't remember. I think I only did it on like a test file. So I'm going to do GoZ. What's R do? Reset the GoZ enabled application. Oh, you know that? It could be that. Well, let's try visible. And then if not, I'm going to try to send it back to a new Maya document. Maybe that's how you're supposed to do it. I don't know. I didn't watch a video on this. I just started hacking through it. Visible. Well, you saw it did stuff. It's saved to like a temporary file and then should have auto imported it into here. And I am not seeing that unless it's gigantic. And I feel like something's wrong with the scale. So I would have expected this to get replaced by it, and it didn't. So this is saved. Let's just start a new file. And what if I do it now? So that should have sent everything and the sphere, which I think is tiny. Ooh, it's not happening. Now this did something, say something about update GoZ, so I'm gonna turn this off. I just got this all installed yesterday, so there's a chance that it's like, oh, you know, there's a new update to make this work or something, but okay. So it's not currently working. I did test sculpting. Oh, did I already click that? I tested this yesterday and it worked on one object. I think I just opened up 2 Mayas. 3 Mayas? How many Mayas are we? 4 Mayas? How many Mayas are we opening here? A lot of Mayas. What the fuck? Oh, here it is. Oh, weird. Oh, ZBrush just opened up like 4 Mayas because they're in here. This is the shirt. What? This is very odd. Okay, we're in like, you don't want to open up this many Mayas, first of all. Huh. Okay, we got to kill this. So there's something about, oh yeah, so I've been, when you're doing Unreal Engine stuff, at least the type of Unreal Engine program I'm doing, like you're constantly managing Task Manager. You're like, oh, did we destroy, like, is this broken like forever? Like what's happening here? Like a lot of the processes in Unreal Engine 4 specifically, when you're doing like game development stuff, especially if you're updating between versions, it's like, you'll set it to do a task and you have no idea how it's going. You're just sitting there, you're like, are you finished? Are you frozen? Did the GPU hang? Like, where are we? And I basically just stare at Task Manager for like 10 minutes and I'm like, okay, you're frozen. But then sometimes it resolves. And it's pretty unsafe to force quit Unreal Engine. Like, you can corrupt the project in a way that it'll never open again. So it's kind of this like gambling process, which is why I use Perforce. Anyway, that went really weird. I did this yesterday and I was just sending one object back and forth, which was pretty simple, but this has turned out to be a little bit trickier. Also, my Task Manager is being a little bit, I can't scroll it. Let's try this again. But absolute worst case, if I can't get this working for some reason, I mean, I don't want to do this workflow if I can't use GoZ, but you would just batch it like normally, group them up and export them, and then re-import them. Wouldn't take that much longer. I mean, at this point, me fumbling through this is going to take longer than just doing it that way. But moving forward, that I have like quite a few things I want to do in this workflow, not just MetaHuman colors. It's like, I'd like it to work. What kind of detail you're working on? Okay, so there's a GoZ update. Let's just check this out. Hold on. GoZ update. What's this button? Okay, so like I should probably know what this does, but I can't even like get it. GoZ update. What the fuck? Okay, well, let's try sending it back. I'm gonna sculpt clothing folds and beat up some leather armor and add stitching. All that stuff's like pretty fun in ZBrush. Not so fun in other programs. GoZ visible. Okay, so I saw it do it, and okay, it's in here. But what's up with? Oh no, oh, it's in the right place. Okay, well this one worked. Now what does GoZ update do? GoZ update. I gotta look that up. Hold up. This is also Maya 22 and ZBrush 2022, meaning all the tutorials are from like 5 years ago. Like people don't make new tutorials on this stuff usually. Maya GoZ update button. What is that? I probably should watch that video. Yeah, what? Okay, so this happened to me too. Let's see. Unreal Engine is no different. It's the same thing. I forgot I was debugging like 500 errors yesterday in Unreal Engine, and it's like, what is this error? And I had to spend an hour finding this one thread from whatever, like it's this. And I'm like, okay, and then we have to update all my structs and blah blah blah. It's the same thing in all these programs. Anyway, when I send an object to ZBrush, it works fine. But when I send it back to Maya, it opens a new instance of Maya every time. Ah, okay. I've seen, that's what happened to me. After you install GoZ from ZBrush, close it. Copy some stuff here. Yeah? I don't know about that. It has 11 likes. Just copied user setup.mel because the plugin was already connected. No need to copy and paste anything from anywhere. Just duplicate the GoZ Maya shelf button and change the command from GoZ from Maya to GoZ to Maya. Has 1 like. Okay, so this I could see it being something like that. Already had existing users set up below something blah blah something blah blah. Okay, so the problem is what should the order I had ZBrush and Maya LT. I should have, in my opinion, I should have installed Maya first clean, then ZBrush clean, and at that point ZBrush will also install the GoZ apps to that existing Maya. But I had to do it kind of manually, and I think I screwed it up. So these are all just a script for like it's pointing to like the wrong place, or it's something like that. So let's see what the command is here. See, it worked though in this case. Like this is our high poly, and what we would do is retopo from here. Because like we basically want to get all those sub-D models back into Maya at around 100, 200K, all sculpted out, and then we retopo on top of this, where you would do normal topology, and then maybe if you're thinking that you really want to alter the silhouette, you would then slice into it. And we at that point you can go even into triangles, because game meshes are triangles, and we're not so worried about staying in quads. We could go to triangle mode and start triangle slicing these out, and then you pull them out and you like 3D model in and low poly the folds, which then complicates rigging. If you can rig in pure quads, then this program makes it very easy, very very easy. All this shit under here and whatnot, use this not a problem, unless you're going to triangles at this point. But anyway, yeah, I had that. What's this GoZ update button do? So maybe I don't even know how this actually works. It's definitely likely. I'm also listening with no audio, so that doesn't help. But yeah, okay. I did all this. Dude, I have what? It's in 480p. What the fuck? Are you serious? How do you have any views? Can you ever read this? Oh, are you supposed to save? Yo, maybe I'm supposed to. A lot of programs are not happy if you don't have a saved ZBrush project with it. Okay, Maya 2018. I just made a tweet about this, that this is still what everybody uses. There's like Maya 2022 and all this fancy shit. You go to like the mill and NPC, they're using like Maya 2016. They're not changing. There's not that much got updated from 2022. They're still using super old Maya. The biggest movies in the world. And it's like Maya 2016 on that studio. Hey, HIK. Okay, I didn't see anything special there. But so there's a couple options, and the scale is throwing me off, but it comes back in at the red scale. So I think it's been fine. Is it here? Wait, where's GoZ? Is it under tool? No. GoZ. Here's the other thing about this program. You make a list of things. They're not in alphabetical order. They're in fuck you order. They're in like whatever order they decided to put it in. Like, so it's like becomes very difficult to find things as you're new to it. I find. Where is that? Is it preferences? Here it is, preferences. Like G at the bottom, D at the bottom. Okay, cool. Import a subtool. That's the option I want to have this, because otherwise each one's a tool, which for certain things you might want that. Clear cache, force reinstall. I think I'm good though. Update all paths. We only care about path to Maya. It sees it. Programs Autodesk Maya 2022. This is good. There's not even anything about scale. It just does the scale conversion for you. And then back in Maya, what's my shelf say? So you can go to shelf editor. I did move this. This worked though. This going there was fine. What's this button do down here? I don't know what this GoZ update button does, but this is, the command is, wait, what? Where's the actual command? Well, that's this, wait, what? Icon name, icon width, tooltip, label. What's my epic one saying? Where's the command? Label, width, tooltip. How does this, what is this calling? Usually this calls a command. This one, wait a minute. I just set up these tools. There's a command. Usually it says like what it's firing. Icon preview. How come this is? Oh, here, it's here. I'm so dumb. Okay. GoZ. This is like the graphical end. This is the command. So this says public Pixologic GoZ apps Maya GoZBrush from Maya. That's 100% correct. I'm questioning what's coming back. Go to ZBrush from Maya. That is exactly what we're supposed to do. Where is this help file that I had? No need to copy and paste, blah, blah, blah. Shelf command from GoZ from Maya to GoZ to Maya. No, that's definitely not it. That doesn't make any damn sense. Only if the user.mel Maya20 script inside ZBrush command and nothing else, GoZ works perfectly, at least for me. If the user setup.mel in Maya 2018 scripts includes only the ZBrush command, which ZBrush command, and nothing else, GoZ works perfectly. Okay. Well, we kind of have like the idea on like where that's going wrong, but anyway, it's back here, but ideally you don't have to like make a new one and it doesn't make a new instance. I'm gonna try this even again. I have a couple places I can look. A lot of detail. I mean, this is game programming. I mean, everything is like this. There's like nothing is easy and free. It's all very detail oriented. And if like when you get into like in what I wasn't expecting too. Let's open up Maya. What I wasn't expecting about mocap and like doing like if we want to call it like high-end VTube or high-end live virtual production is if you're not comfortable with computer networking, you're gonna have a hard time. And I'm not comfortable with computer networking because it's usually multiple computers talking to each other. And for me to get the Vicon up and running, we were in a Zoom for like a full hour going through like the network settings of my Ethernet port and then the network settings of my enterprise switch. And there were words in there I've never heard of in my life. I was like, what? It's like, so like if we're like deep in like Windows commands of like, oh yeah, we need this much bandwidth and you need this many like literally like configuring Ethernet ports or else it doesn't work. So it's the whole thing is not easy. So people trying to like thinking they're going to plug and play any of like this high end stuff. It's like, oh no, you better have a good support team where it's like legit IT people to network all these computers and things together. This is just networking within Windows between apps. It's not even that bad. Let's try to do this again. It doesn't feel very good. I'm going to try this again. Anyway, document. You know, I like just doing this. Just get me into a new doc. I'm in the subtool, and it's like, but I don't give a fuck about this sphere. Oh, but it's the only thing there, so you gotta look at it. So, ideally, now I closed this. I don't know if that's supposed to be open. I don't know what that does either. I'm gonna do GoZ update now. What the fuck does that do? I'm gonna click on this, you, and the shirt, right? This, in theory, should send all 4 of these over as subtools as this name. It only sent 2. Kind of weird. Only sent 2 of them. So let me see if I can send the rest of them. Like this. Maybe you just do them one at a time. What? And then the what? And then it sent that one. Okay. What's going on here? Funny. That was my last selection. It doesn't make sense. Now, is this trying to send everything? You usually have to select it. So it doesn't keep appending it. Okay, so I just don't understand this behavior. And I swear the weird person here is ZBrush. It's always ZBrush. It's like the weird one. But so I was doing this before and I was only sending one object. That works. But I thought you could send multiple. So this is not taking more time to sort this out. Oh, hold up. It shouldn't matter that these are in subd mode, but maybe it does. Hold on. You know what? These were both subd. These weren't. I wonder if that matters. So let's take these. So now everything's in like not subdivision mode. I will save. We can always go back. What does this do? What the fuck is that? Oh no. Oh no, what did that just do? Where'd the chest go? I need to learn what that button does. Crap. Let's go back. Does the scale of the default sphere in ZBrush set the scale for the... Does it? Dude. Oh, you might be right. You might be right. So should I just start from like a new doc maybe? Let's try that. I don't know. Like I'm very unfamiliar. Okay, so I'm like I feel like I'm still in this, even though I'm in a new doc. Is this because like that's what I'm gonna draw? What the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna start this over. I can try that. Let's just try a fresh one. Wouldn't have expected future gaming to be easy and comfortable. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Which is why like I spend like this was a long R&D session for me. Like I kind of didn't quote unquote do anything for all of 2021. I just did R&D. I was like, yo, there's a lot of new stuff happening. Unreal Engine 5 came out. MetaHumans are out. Some other stuff. And I was like, okay, let's see what I can put together from all this tech into something that like works. Was kind of my goal. But now, like once you like establish like a pipeline that you like and it works, it's like you kind of just got to stop learning new things and just do something. And that's kind of where I'm trying to be at now for the 2022. It's like take all the stuff I've learned, make a thing now, like actually produce it. Okay, so if I hit Gozi now, right, we're in like a fresh dock. There's no subtool. I have no idea what's gonna happen. So try it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Wait. So the object chest upper sub D is linked to Gozi mesh. Okay, Gozi requires the same name for the object. Rename. Okay, so this got like linked or something. I don't know how this works. Rename object as something. Create a new Gozi mesh. Okay, so there's something happening behind the scenes where these transport files. So probably what happens, I'd have to go look in like the deep script files or wherever this stuff's being stored, is essentially when I send this to ZBrush, it's going to take this file, save it as an FBX in a folder somewhere, and then tell ZBrush, hey, go import that. And then somewhere there's this connection. I don't know who defines the connection, if it's in Maya, if it's in ZBrush, if it's in some other like Python format or something, I don't know. But there's an intermediate format, FBX, that it's that they're connected, and that's like partially how it knows how to go back and forth. So that's why this hasn't been working. And it's based on name. So when I did it wrong the first time, those connections still exist is the problem somewhere. So based on that, I'm going to say create new ones, and this is probably going to also create problems. So doing it wrong the first time was bad. Let's see what happens there. So this is what I was worried about, is that there's nothing in here. No, there they are. Okay. Oh no, they're red. I forgot this is like the default matte cap. Awful. So the thing is, I only... Okay, so I have a suspicion that this is linked somewhere. So what about this? These are new pieces. I haven't tried to send these out yet. Oops. So let's just like unbox these ones. So let's send like this, and these shoulders. If I hit Gozi now, we haven't created the intermediate file that's somewhere. I need to clear the cache. There's a cache somewhere. I'm going to go clear it. I remember seeing it. Let's try this. Fatal error. Oh no. Oh man. Oh, this is sad. Okay. I am going to now at this point go to preferences, Z, and clear cache. Okay, this is saved in shared Pixologic Gozi default. These cache files, I imagine, are where those intermediate FBXs are that I imagine are causing the issue. So I like starting this way. I think that's fine because we're in a subtool, and I want my import to just add them as objects. This went fine when it was just one object. It's more complicated now when there's like so many. But I would like this to work. And it's fun to live stream it not working. Ugh. Back in the day, before Epic acquired Quixel Megascans, we didn't have Bridge, and when we did have Bridge, it was still a little sketch. It wouldn't always work perfectly. The workflows into Unreal Engine were just as difficult, if not more difficult. With Bridge now, it's like the amount of work that the Bridge plugin does to import MetaHumans for you cannot be overstated. If you had to import those one by one as FBXs, import the groom, set up the settings, point it to the right texture files, you would hate your life and you'd probably never use a MetaHuman. I had to do that for all the character creator people that I use in my game. It's like, oh, we made a new character. Get ready for like a full day of importing it to Unreal Engine. If you fuck up one of the settings and you screw up the skeleton, it's like, start again because it won't work. And then if you're doing it in a production run and you overwrite, for instance, your base mannequin skeleton, which I've done, you better revert or you have lots of problems. Okay, so we're in a new Maya. Yeah. Everything's out here. Actually, it's being done by name, I think. So it didn't matter that it wasn't in the null. Fresh this thing. I cleared the cache, was my suspicion. Now, if I go Z, now what does go Z update do? This makes me afraid. I don't know what that button does. This one is how I understand it. Oh, they're all there. Okay, so 100% the cache was screwing it up, right? Okay, so now everything I selected is in there. So it's the cache, and that's what that clear cache button is. I'm learning. I just do a learn. This thing, make it smooth, go to like 500s, okay. If you want to do really detailed, you need to go at least one more. Okay, so these are subdividing nice. Let's get into the 500,000, 700,000 range. This is pretty okay. So the goal, not immediately to get something good out of it, but you know. Hey, what is going on? What tool am I on? Oh, we gotta go to this one, I see. Okay, fair enough. Now this size still feels a little bit weird that this is 1,000. So I do need to look up ZBrush scale. Something seems wrong with the scale. But there is, yeah. So this is just way too high to work on. That's for like service details. So like around even, yeah, really I guess in this phase, but I'll go like, isn't it D? Isn't it D to transport, but is it Shift D? Oh my God. Why you crash? Sadness. We haven't been crashing Maya, but trust me, the crash fest is real. Just look up Maya on Twitter. It's your life. I should have saved. Well, anyway, I'm just trying to send this back. Damn. Pain in the ass. Work, damn it. So those cache files, I bet they still exist. Okay, so what's this one? Yeah, the quick save. I don't know if I want to open that though, to be honest. I think it's like, this is the quick save. Nah. There's probably another one. So you're not supposed to clear the cache if Maya's open. So I have to like close Maya, is that right? Ooh, I wonder if I just go Z now. So I'm gonna try it again. So what was it about that possibly could have crashed it? That was like really low amount of polys. I feel like it's the go Z thing. It makes it kind of sketchy. I'm about to just skip go Z and we're just gonna export it, but I was trying to get this to work. Yeah, so let's try this again. Subtool. I don't want to clear the cache because all it's doing is there's a connection. Now, are you supposed to like click that or something? But there's something that what is this go Z update button? It's like it's not down there for no reason, so I never figured out what that means. Let me look for this. What is the Maya go Z update button? I'm not seeing it. What is this little ass button down here? I'm gonna take a screenshot of this and send this into the Twitterverse in a second. What the hell is this, dude? And I can't move it. It says go Z update. That makes me feel like you're supposed to update go Z, right? That's what it kind of feels like. So I could understand that if it's like, hey, Maya 22, you need to update something. Oh, you know what? I'm 22.2.1 too. I don't know what that would have changed. One thing I'm slightly remembering about Maya is that this 2022 update, they switched to Python 3, I think. They had to update, and all the Maya animators had to update their scripts to be Python 3, who use the new version. Maya go Z update button. What the hell is this button? Like, what if I click it? I don't know what that thing does, because like I only know this, and we're crashing. So if this happens again, I need to figure out what's going on here. And then for this, I'll just export it the old way because this is getting sad. But I figured out the cache thing. Yeah. So those cache files exist already, so it'll probably pull from them already. Find out. Go, don't crash. Stop the crashing. Okay, that's good. Okay, upper chest. 1, 2, 3. We'll just stay here for now. Because then I don't have to, what's it called? Decimate it. I just want to send this back to my, god damn it. And the draw size is freaking me out, so I think something's wrong. Because 1,000, I mean, like, what? Like, maybe something seems wrong with the scale. But if it goes back into Maya, then I guess it's fine. I don't know. This is leather, so this is not the appropriate way to sculpt this, but we're just kind of like adding detail for no reason. This is more like metal sculpting, kind of. But it would be nice to have the brush be bigger, but I'm at 1,000, so I feel like my scale's off a little bit here. I don't know, but this chest piece has like a bit of like a raised up like kind of like Batman chest area, so you just kind of like and smooth it in and do a better job. Another thing that's gonna happen, so this has subdiv, so I'm gonna delete the lower immediately, and I made a tool. The more I do this, the more I'm like, you know what, we don't even use ZBrush, like fuck it, like I'm just gonna finish it in Maya. But I don't want to, I need to sculpt the cloth, that's where I need to do it. But so I made CDIM. These are my brushes now. Is it this one? I don't remember. I need to go delete. Now that's a CDIM. It's probably this one. Yeah, it's this one. Okay, so turn off symmetry. So you have to re-enable this every time. Is that right? So we got to go to stroke, curve, snap. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see what this is gonna do. Interesting. That's about right. So we want to do this. Let me see one. Something is wrong with the scale here. Like, what the fuck? What the hell? Something's wrong with the scale. I need to understand something about ZBrush scale. It's not like exposed. So this is like, so if I say 100, we're off by 100. I would say my scale is off by 100. But this is this, because like what it should, the way I had modeled this is that, maybe I'm wrong, but the way the brush needs to be able to get bigger, so the scale's off, I think. But the way I modeled this and tested it is that scale 1 should look like a pretty normal stitch, not scale 100. Scale 100, it doesn't. So this is, something's very wrong with this. But to do stitches, we're just gonna go like, okay, this is a little bit big, but. And it's just placing 3D models. That's a 3D 3D meshes along a spline. You could do this in Maya too. You know, it doesn't have to be in ZBrush. It's just like kind of nice here. Oops. But something feels very wrong about the scale. But the only way that it doesn't really matter if it's off. All that matters is that it comes back into Maya properly. And these at the end of the day are just going to come in as another FBX object. Like it doesn't matter, and then you can tweak them. The thing is, like, you can hand place these in Maya. It's going to take like all day. It's going to take like a very long time to add like the thousands of stitches. And if I had properly prepped for this, there's a workflow in ZBrush that you auto place them based on the borders, but I didn't do that, of course. So I was fine just to do something like this, like, which is why I took the day to learn to make the ZBrush tool, which was horrendous as well. All these workflows the first time you learn them suck. Because you just do it wrong for like, oh no. You just do it wrong for like a full day or week or year. Hopefully not a year. But I made this brush so that we could do this. Oh, did they connect? Oops. Oh well, whatever. Anyway, you do that nicer. And they're just meshes, so you can go move them again in Maya finally at the end. You just do that to all the pieces that need stitches, and then you can hopefully strip these out and go Z back. Or you could actually leave them in, but we want to strip them out. So let me see like this. How many polygrips do we have? Oh, I don't know how to extract. So I'm going to just duplicate. I'm going to duplicate this tool, hide this one, and we're going to take just these stitches. We're going to delete hidden. And so now this is the high poly, quote unquote, sculpted. Like we would sculpt more leather and stuff into it. And now, because it's kind of easier here in ZBrush, we have these high poly stitches. And this gets merged into one high poly piece with different vertex colors in Maya to then finally send it to Substance Painter so that the stitches can be a different material easier. It's a whole lot of shit to get this all to work. Character arts are crazy. So I should probably save. I wonder if that's part of the issue is I haven't saved. So this is like, oh yeah, like right to the directory where the ZBrush save is, and it's like, that doesn't exist. So I could see that being a problem. MetaWitcher, ZBrush. What is all of this? I haven't ZBrushed anything. Did I ZBrush low poly this? I'm not going to do that in the future. I'm not even using ZBrush for early concept, so I'm not sure what this is. We'll call it detail. I think I did start this off doing ZBrush for the low poly. Fuck that completely. I'm not doing that anymore. So what I want to do, so this is saved now. I can get that it wants maybe this save directory to exist to write the temp files and stuff like that. I can completely see that. So when I send this back, what it should be doing now, I'm going to rename this here. This is like the same thing as renaming it in Outliner, and it should keep them the same. We'll just call this like chest stitches. Like all the chest pieces, all this, like when this goes back to Painter, all the stitches that would have been eventually merged into this as an object, I would then merge them into this sublayer. And in theory now, when I go back to Maya, all visible, it's going to bring, it won't bring the sphere because it's not visible. It's going to look at the body and be like, there's already something named body. And so it should switch it, or in this case, there's no difference. But it should give me the high poly version of this, and this new object should be added, is the dream here, and not crash. Why is it green? Oh no, what the fuck is this? Well, okay, so this is probably on purpose, but what I will say is that we have our high poly and we have our new stitches that, like, obviously here they got kind of like wrecked. Now, why does it have the object under it? What's this? What? Did it all come in together? No, that's separate. Huh. Wait, what? What if I hide this? It's not under there. Okay, well, unfortunately, I tried to bring these in as separate objects. But, like, these are still just polygons, so you can just, like... There's two. Something's not right. So they're still under there. Oh, I never deleted them out of the other one. That's my mistake. I drew them and then didn't delete them out of this sub-object. They're still in there, right there. And you know what? I don't know how to delete this object. Yeah, they're still in there. So that's my fault. I should have drawn them and then made polygroups and then split by polygroup. But at the same time, I don't see an object called chest stitches, or do I? It's not enough. Oh no, they're here. Okay, that's just my fault. I didn't delete them out. So that worked. It then altered this file in a way that I'm not appreciative of. Like, why are those green? That might be something about GoZ. So where's that green material? I'm not sure what green means in Maya. Okay, so it's not an actual material. Why is this green? Maya GoZ green. What is this? Ah, okay, first one. Oh my god. Yeah, what the fuck? Wondering, has anyone seen Maya something? Blah, blah, stock, blah, 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 blah. Solved by lots of people. Hey, okay. Give me. Deleting history before putting it on right material and saving helped. Okay. I didn't. Okay, that's kind of weird. This one, what do we got here? Refreshing the model material did the trick for me too. Just assign some random material. Oh, okay. So you, that's incredibly annoying though. Like, so I just reassign materials and it's like, that's fine. I need to look at the script, the Python script for the GoZ. Like, I could fix that at like the code level, but I don't really feel like updating their GoZ script because like that doesn't make any sense, and I don't have to do that constantly. However, the GoZ did work. Okay, so we're in still this Maya file, and the goal was to just in this file replace everything with the high poly sculpt. So it's technically working at the moment. So I don't know. Let me see if I can keep going with this. The damn materials. How about if I just turn materials off? You can't. No, it's like base. It's not like a texture. Rip my life. That's super annoying. But they're saying if you just put regular materials back on it, but mine are segmented, so I don't really want to do that. Let's send fucking everything now. I'm gonna full send. Oh, I didn't rename everything, but I'm just gonna try to be like a little bit even more ambitious with this. So what have we sent over? Okay, and I fucked that up. It's my first time trying to send something this complicated back. It's easy if you're just making like one barrel or something like that, but this has a lot of pieces. And then I'm generating the base meshes in the two programs. But okay, so we did the body. We don't have the shirt. Okay, so let's bring in the shirt and the arms and the shoulder pads. So that'll be, can't rename any of this stuff ever now. These names are what's holding this whole fragile little thing together. So this. See if I can send this whole thing back. It's not helpful that that's green now. Send that. Now, are those all merged? I can't tell. I think they are. Yeah, so they got merged. Luckily, the way I have the mirror set up is really good for this. Okay, so that's good. So they're symmetrical, which is good also, until we don't want it to be. But we want these to come in as merged sub-D symmetrical pieces. So now, can you go Z on top of it? Okay, so there was something saying about history, yeah? So maybe I should freeze transform in histories at this point. I don't want to freeze transform in a group, but I'll at least delete all the history out of it. I don't know if that helps. Go Z. Oh, no. Big crash. I think I saved her. That's interesting. So, I'm going to try... Huh. It looks like I don't get the bots either. What's the point? They're not even like selling anything. Like, for better or worse, I understood the like when I was on Twitch for like a little bit. I understand like the Twitch hate bots. Like, you're just trying to harass people that you don't like. I get it. It's not good, but I understand what the point is. You're trying to harass people you don't like to stop streaming. I get it. But yeah, these ones that you can't post links. You know what it is? There's maybe some streams that do allow you to post links. And in that case, the bot would post a link to like something that's going to like, you know, malware you or something like that. That's what I would guess. Should turn on links to find out. Okay. Oh, did I not save? I didn't save. This has been quite a trial. I'm starting to think I have a couple character people I can talk to about this. I'm gonna go ahead and say that based on this, people don't really fuck with GoZ because this is pretty awful. Unless like it seems fragile, like very easy to break. So what if I GoZ this back now? I don't feel very safe about that. I'm gonna try GoZing to it, adding to it, and if it doesn't work, I'm just going to do this the old school way, and that's fine, because I would rather it be slow and work than be like a lottery of if I'm going to crash this. Like, it's not worth it. So there's a lot of promise in this workflow that I really like. But in the end, if it's this sketchy right now, then I'm not going to use it, which is too bad. I'd rather just export and import, whatever. And I'll do the in-between format. So I'm just trying to send the rest of the armor, not the whole thing. I thought I was just going to select the whole shit, and it would send it, but like, no, it's going to be a little bit more careful. Are we crashing? I see. Yeah, make new ones. See what happens. Crash. Fair enough. Okay. I'm not using this, unfortunately, but there's great promise in it working. And I think if it's like probably something simpler, it works fine. Also, the scale's wrong. So something's wrong here. So I'll come back to it. I think that there's probably something I'm doing wrong. Because the scale's wrong. And I did this before and the scale was fine. So I'm going to try this the old way, which is still fine. Where are they? What am I doing? Where's the... Is it projects? Yeah. So I do this the old school way. So be it. When you go to Painter, you have to break them all out into like FBXs yourself anyway, unless you write a Python script. But oh well, that's too bad. I bet you. Oh, it's not even open. But I'll process these the old way. But if that did work, it's nice. I was doing it with like a very simple thing where I was sending a sphere back and forth. Make a sphere in Maya. It sends it to ZBrush as a new subtool. Make a new subtool in ZBrush. It sends it back to Maya as an object. And it was just sending them back and forth and sculpting, and it was fine. But clearly, something's a little off here. I'm not sure what it is, though. So it was kind of cool. It was just one button versus like click, export, click, import. Saves time. But so far this morning, I've basically just wasted a ton of time. is all that's happened. Oh well. So I'm just going to go through all the subtools, all the things here, and I'm going to make sure that they're named in a reasonable way, in a way that it's going to be easy to get them eventually to Substance Painter, is the whole point of this. So let's start with this one. This is, now where are you? Where's your origin? Interesting. Do I care where this thing's origin is? Would it matter? Its pivot. Does that matter? Only if I'm going to be like moving it in Maya, but I'm done moving it. All these things, pivots, could be like there's skeletal meshes in Unreal Engine, like they're down here. They're rigged to a skeleton. I don't think at this phase it matters. I'm not going to reset them down there, but I'm just trying to have a think about that. This is a skeletal mesh workflow and a modular skeletal mesh workflow, so there's something to consider about that later on. Like, am I going to regret losing it? This pivot is arbitrary. I don't think all the pivots on this are arbitrary. None of them are like construction, and they're not going to matter because we're going to skin them to a skeleton. So the pivots basically don't matter. So I can basically take this whole thing now. We guess we have to break out of these groups, which is kind of bad. Oh, okay. Okay, this going to ZBrush thing is not trivial. There's actually another aspect of this is polygroups I have to consider. But anyway, I'm going to start by just opening this up. And killing all the history off of all those pieces. So there's that. Making also now showing that they're all scaled. So freeze transform. So everything is now scale 1 in case that was throwing anything off. And now I just got to process this whole damn thing real quick. Okay, so I'll call this one body. This is like, it's too early to give them suffixes, but we'll say body. And I just got to go down chest, upper. I should put all the buckles and stuff together, but I'm just going to start sorting them up here. So I want chest upper. Actually, let's go base out. So it's going to go body 2. That means there's another body already, I guess. Oops. I think I probably should have sorted this anyway. Anyway, we have body. Then the next layer is shirt. Chest upper. Chest lower. Chest lower. What's up, Chick Do? Thanks. I guess we have stitches. Wait, so we're gonna say chest lower underscore stitches. I'm not sure. I haven't organized this stuff. Yeah, chest lower stitches. Are all the stitches together? No, there's another one. These ones. So chest lower stitches 2. I mean, I would have had to do this even if ZBrush Gozi was working fine, which it probably will. I'm gonna look into it a little bit more off stream. I tested basically like a sphere and creating spheres, and it worked. I was like, okay, let's do the whole character, and then it didn't quite go that way. These straps then, yeah. So we're gonna call this one. Okay, so eventually what has to happen is I have to break these into materials per object, where I want them to be the same object but have different polygroups to give me control over painting them. Or they're all subtools and you merge it back later. I'm a little confused about how I want to approach that for each piece, and I only learned by failing through it a little bit. So I'm going to call this one, this is really chest upper. Is that how I'm going to name this? How am I going to merge these? Oh man, I have to think about 1, how I want to bring it into ZBrush, and then 2, how I want to bring it into Substance, and then 3, what's the final piece going to be? Which is how you bring it to Substance, basically. You have to decide what pieces are separate objects, and then how they get materials. I guess I'll just call this chest strap. I don't really know. Upper for now. This one, these are different materials, so this is the issue. Oh man. Okay, just naming these is going to be a fun little battle. I'm going to move on to the easier ones for now. Shoulders. Now, am I going to approach these the same way in ZBrush and in Substance Painter as far as them being high poly? Is there an issue with these being together? They really probably shouldn't be. The low poly definitely will not be. So I'm going to separate them here, basically. Yeah, that's going to make the most sense. So this, oh, it's in symmetry mode. Where's my shelf? Where are these? Maya. Why did these go away? What's this called? What's this thing called? Is it called the strip or something? I forget what they called this little thing up there. This is what happens when you crash Maya. It throws away all my, it like randomly throws away that top row. Oh God, what's that thing called? Is it called the ribbon or something like that? Unreal Engine 5 is a little bit like this right now because things are a little bit different. Oh, status line? No, status line. That's the status line? Okay, whatever. You're back. We have symmetry on. Let's not do that. That's not safe. Certain things crash Maya with symmetry. Okay, so we're gonna extract and history kill transform just for fun, and now we should have 2 separate objects. They're in a null. 3. Oh, I see how I did it. Fair enough. Okay, so we'll take this one, and these are upper arm armor. This. So then this. Oh, it separated it by hull, UV hull or poly hull, whatever. We combine these back together because we want these to be sculpted symmetrical. I'm not going to do the asymmetry in this one. Look at some weird ass tangent right here, but I'm not modeling this. I'm going to combine it, history, freeze transform. So now this is shoulder. We should really start calling it like clavicle, but whatever. Shoulder armor. Like that. Okay. So let's see. Have we done shirt? Yeah. Upper. We haven't done any of the strappy details. Let's just do the big ones. So shoulder armor, upper arm. We're doing this by bone. And then these. Okay, so how are these? So this is perfect actually. This is the way this is set up. So we should get these back and start looking at them in low poly mode. This is glove upper. So at this point we don't break them into left and right. Glove lower, glove outer. That's fine. And these knuckles we're gonna merge into one object. I think that's going to be fine. They're placed reasonable. The final placement, well, this is kind of the final placement really, but technically in ZBrush I could move them and then retop with them if I have to. But we're going to combine these, history transform. These are, we'll say glove knuckles like that. Damn, see now all this detail, it's like, oh, it's so fun. We're going to rename everything and then material them, and it's a pain in the ass. And this isn't even like that detailed of a character, but it's like a full AAA character. How many little parts are on them, and every single one has to go to Substance Painter. Rip. Pants. Fair enough. Just start to bring these up here. Boots. Just call it boots. I think they're all one piece. We have materials, which is good. Oh man, it's a lot of work. Oh, we have another pants somewhere chilling because this thing got renamed to pants 1. Oh, well, whatever, your pants 1. Now, are these straps are separate? Okay, so do these... Okay, so there's 2 things. How do I want them to come into ZBrush? They definitely need to be different subtools because I don't want them messing with each other. So those are definitely different subtools. Is the buckle a different subtool? Like this part, it really is. That sucks. There should be so many subtools. I have to bring them by hand and correctly. And the loop, these are all separate subtools. So that means I have to name them as such, which sucks. But let's do it this way. Okay, so they are symmetried already. That is at least fine. Ugh. This is why I want to go Z to work. I have to go do this by hand now. Okay, so we're going to call this boot. What are we calling this thing? I'm going to call it strap. Strap. That's what I'm calling this thing, because we can't rely on these groups anymore. This one is boot, strap, buckle. This one is boot, strap, loop. Is there a bolt under here? I think there is. I want to delete it because we're never going to see it. But oh, you know what? I couldn't sort out this flip normal issue between these 2 things. I remember that. God damn it. Be easier. I'm gonna just delete that. This is what happens with, like, when you're not go-zing these. It's just like, you know what? Let's just not. I want this to be easier for my life. I couldn't get this to work the other day, and it's probably because I had the symmetry on. So let me see if I can flip this. Flip yourself. There we go. Yeah, this is, if you had symmetry on, I would have flipped that one back. So that's what was happening. Also, oh, okay. So there's even more to consider. We're not even halfway done with this. The edges matter. how you send the normals, it matters, and it matters for Substance Painter too. So you have to do like this kind of like intermediate. In Max, it's called smoothing groups. Here, it's called like edge hardness. You have to manage that this entire time. If you do it wrong, you end up with like faceted lines baked into your mesh. I didn't name this thing. Okay, so this is boot, strap, bolt. So all these names come back to haunt you when we go back to Substance Painter, basically. So I have to start pulling. I just have to be like an adult and like actually name everything, which I don't want to do. Hopefully these aren't going to delete something. So that if in Maya, if these are tied, if you don't clear the history and you delete this null with nothing under it, if it's tied to these, it'll delete the actual mesh. And if you're like in here, you won't notice it. So it's good to delete things from like out here. Make sure that there's no like weird, like nothing's coming along for the ride. Because you can process like a whole file like beyond Maya's undo stack, and you just deleted something you'll never get back. So you start over. I do that all the time. Okay, so these are all named. Belt, shoes, and we just gotta name. We gotta fucking name everything. So annoying. Let's just top and go down. Yeah, so we gotta do these ones. What a pain in the ass. Okay, so let's do. What is this now? We're gonna say chest. Say strap. Do I give them names? Do I just give them numbers like strap, chest, upper? Oh god, strap. Because these all need to be separate subtitles. This is gonna be insane in ZBrush. Strap, chest, upper, buckle. They only need to be there so that I can sculpt around them. What a pain in the ass. This is gonna take forever. Strap, chest, upper, strap, 2. Strap. I have my like Wacom tablet out. Like I'm anywhere near actually sculpting this. I'm just doing like stupid prep work. Strap, chest, upper, bolt. I think there's 2. We're gonna use the one that's under here. It's the wrong material still, which matters. It will matter. And this is the other one. Strap, chest, upper, bolt, 2. And then we pop out of this group. So rip ever trying to move these together now. I'd have to like regroup them, and I'm gonna lose this transform. What's important, but we're leaving that phase. I'm not gonna do the straps here just because again that would be like 1,000 more fucking strap details. No, thank you. Chest strap upper. We have to give these a different name. Call this chest. I've prefaced that other one by calling it a strap. I don't know. I mean, these are shoulders. These are like the shoulder straps. Maybe that's what I'll call it. Shoulder strap. I don't know what to call this. Outer. This one would then be chest, shoulder, strap, inner. Oh god, and now we gotta name a whole belt section of crap again. So this is then sub of chest, shoulder, strap, inner. like strap, Jesus. Chest, shoulder, strap, inner, buckle, and this is the last one. Jeez. Chest, shoulder, strap, inner, loop. And this is where the me like making any typos in this phase will start to be a problem as time goes on. We're almost done though. Okay, so this one, sweet lord, how did we name this? This is strap, chest, lower, strap. Should probably copy and paste stuff. Strap, chest, lower, buckle, strap, chest, lower, strap 2, and then a bunch of bolts. Strap, chest, lower, bolt 1. My kids think it's magic. I don't have to. I can type this fast. That's funny to me still. Okay, these ones. What's up? Last one? Hey, last one. Then just exporting a ton of shit back to ZBrush. Rip. I'm gonna try to. I just want to go Z this whole thing. That was the dream. Was like go Z, and I don't have to do anything. I'm gonna try it again actually because I don't want to import these one by one. That's awful. going to say belt. We only have one belt. Belt, buckle. Belt, loop. And belt, strap. Okay. So everything is named. Can't say that there's no typos. Definitely are. They're not like in a great hierarchy order. We must have something in here called body. I'm going to delete these at this point. These are for adding construction stuff. These are not the ZBrush prep file. I want you to be just named body. And it's going to body 3. So the other place something could be named body and pants is in the material. You can't have a name here the same as a material. That's what I would guess here. So when I'm making things like this, they should always be like, I don't know, like almost like Unreal Engine, like matte. We name these metal in case I want to have that name be here. I'd rather these take the priority name. So is there a body in here? I don't see one, but that's what pants was. So like all these nodes in here, there's like they're all in here. Like everything is in here. You just only look at like certain ones usually. Something else on the dependency graph is called body, unfortunately. Let's call it MH body then. Okay. So everything's a single mesh. Let's just history transform. Everything's scaled at 1. Let's take everything back from 3. Oh my god, hold on, I'm gonna cancel. Don't even do that. 1, there we go. Everything is now in like low poly form. And anyway, this is probably how it should have been gone to Gunzi. You know, I'm gonna delete this. Don't need that at the moment. Just like taking variables out of this whole problem. I would like this to all go into ZBrush and every one of this is their own subtool. And then like gonna hurt myself having to like manage that over there, but anyway, that's the goal, is to get this whole stupid thing to ZBrush. I'm gonna fucking try to go Z this thing because I don't want to do that. Okay, so we're in here. Let's see how hard this crashes. Now, I kind of wish I renamed everything. I'm gonna start this again. So I'm gonna close this. I want this to fucking work. I'm gonna go to prefs here. Go Z. Clear these files. This never happened. This never happened. Oh my god, this program. Who puts their things like that? No. So starting over, who should be open first, right? Shouldn't really matter, but I'm gonna do Maya then ZBrush. Clear the cache files. It's like we've never even tried to do this before, hopefully is what that means. I don't think that fix with changing the Go Z to Maya Mel's shelf thing was proper. It had 1 like, but that's not it, I don't think. Though we did have the thing where I clicked Go Z back to Maya and it opened up 4 Mayas, so that's not good. It's supposed to be like Geralt's armor, yeah, but it's formed to a MetaHuman. So it won't look like Geralt. It'll look like a MetaHuman wearing Geralt's armor. This is like the starter armor in Witcher 3. Okay, here we are, all prepped. It's not, actually no it is. It's almost prepped the right way in that what we're gonna do on import, actually I don't even control that. But when you import from FBX, you can say different materials are different polygroups, which would be lovely. So that like if you're sculpting the metal, you can auto mask out the leather and stuff like that. It's just like nicer. If this just goes at all, I'm happy. Like that's I'll accept the not having the polygroups. But as you get to more like robotic finishes and stuff like that, you really want to have like a lot of control over the polygroups, which is why a lot of people try to author that. Like people author like all that in ZBrush itself, because then you kind of preserve all the polygroups and stuff as you're constructing it, but kind of awful. So I can see this crashing. I want to extend this whole thing over, right? And everything's pretty clean. Shouldn't be any huge issues. Okie dokie. Big old crash. Now, it's a fatal error attempting to save users local temp data. Trying to save this crash. That's kind of odd. So it's a weird place to crash. So Maya's definitely crashing on the Go Z step, which is unfortunate. So the workflow, should I understand this correctly? I don't know if there's like a multi FBX importer thing. Maybe. Let's try it. Selected import options. Look at this menu. What is this menu? Okay, import mats as polygroups. Yes. SS, so that's from Max, smooth groups, I think. Import mats as subtools. Oh, that's pretty fucking interesting. We definitely don't want that. But we want this. So those are FBXs. Oh, I haven't exported this. I hate my life. Oh no. Okay, so what this means is I have to export each one of those as a stupid mesh. And it would be out of Maya to ZBrush, and it's not back at this point. So I have to go export those one by one if I'm gonna do it this way. And that sucks. That's true. It's like it's a pure workflow step. Those assets are useless otherwise. Like sub-demodeled Maya assets are not useful anywhere. Oh god. Okay. I need to relearn Maya Python because you can automate this. It would be like you could do it based on selection. I could select all the meshes and then write a script that goes through your selection list and exports each one as its own FBX, and you just take the name. If there's a naming conflict, you append like an underscore or something. It's like not a hard script to write. Like we would take this, and then it's like it's gonna take me too long to try to sort through it today. Where are you? Where's the script editor? It's been a long time since I've tried to do any of that stuff. Script editor. Yeah. Python, and it's like I don't even remember in Maya how this works, but it's gonna be like get selection list, store it to variable, then you for loop through it and you do something to each one, and that's it, and then you just have to save and figure out the damn syntax for doing this. But let me tell you where there's no documentation, it's Maya Python. You have to like fight to learn that stuff. Super not documented. So I don't think there's a way that I can export this as one piece and it would know to import each like hulled object. This is basically broken up by hull at the moment with some mirroring. I don't think there's a way of importing this in a way that it knows to be making them separate subtools. But if there is, I would like to know, because like that's what GoZ is supposed to fucking do, really. I mean, that's the point of it. But Maya to ZBrush FBX subtool. Let's just see what happens here. I'll take an S actually. As separate subtools. Maybe. There might be. The word is separate subtool from one. Okay, from OBJ from Maya to ZBrush as separate subtools. That is truly what we're talking about here. Okay, so this is what I've done. I've broken it into like what I want it to be a subtool, and I want materials as polygroups ideally. Okay, now are we importing? If you're gonna do it one by one, then that makes sense. But hopefully he just exported the whole ass thing. Okay, now what's up with where did that? Where, he hit this import? Okay. Maybe there's going to be some settings. We'll see. If it comes in as one subtool with polygroups, then rip. Okay. Oh, auto groups. Auto groups might do it. Are we going to do polygroups, auto groups? That might do it. What you doing? Show me the polygroups. What you doing? Polygroups. Looks like Slimer with feet. Do it. He's gonna auto polygroups. Split. Oh, okay. Split to parts. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll take that too. Oh, split to parts. Okay. Oh, but they're all gonna be named insane. They're gonna be completely named insane. So I just renamed that stuff for nothing. That's one way. Okay. Fuck. That's awful in a lot of ways too, though. Jesus. This is what GoZ is supposed to do. Rip my life. Okay, well that's probably better. Is that better? I guess that's maybe better. But all the naming is gonna be gone. It's all gonna be like MH body 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't want to do that. I just want GoZ, go as subtools, keep my names, like so I have like any idea what's going on. I guess that's the best way. I'm pretty sure polygroups would work too. Oh, but then I would. Oh, this is bad, man. So I think just doing it slow and the right way is probably the best move. That sucks. That super sucks. And this is going to be just like the basic one. It's not like how to import multiple objects into ZBrush. Okay. There might be something, there might be like some cute way. That's kind of okay. But I want the names. Keep the names. That's what Gozi is for. How did you export? The hope is that you exported them. Okay, well, we didn't show that phase. Okay. Nah, I see. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Individual. That's the cleanest way, and then you control the polygroups. Damn it. Really don't want to do that. So like this like de-incentivizes you from doing lots of things because there's so many. At least it does for me. It makes me like not want to have that many. Okay, so and then how is he gonna stick them all together? Appends, right? Yeah. So you're appending them and then you switch the tool. Let me see. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do like 15 times. Damn it. Wait, how did he do that? So what, you import all the pieces and you click them? That's so awful. I mean, that's what Gozi is for. But Gozi is crashing. I'm sad. I really don't want to do it this way. This will preserve... that's the clean way. Sometimes processes just suck and they're very linear. It's definitely not the easiest way. Yes, yeah, god damn it. Like FBX can handle, like the FBX format saves each one of these in a way that they're segmented. So like what you would want is like import FBX like an FBX file. Like if I sent this from FBX to Max, it would probably understand that these are separate objects. And so Zebra should too. So before I spend an hour fucking exporting each one of these by itself, I'm going to try just this. And there's probably a workflow too. I'm just like not. We're not back to Z. We're going to say just straight to Z. So like this we're going to treat this like it didn't come from it. Oops, I did a Maya binary file. What the fuck? Oh, do you have to change it here? Oh, oops. Okay. I think this is slightly different than Maya LT, but maybe not. Well, at least I haven't set this up. Maybe it defaults to FBX now. I just switched to full Maya. Preserve references? No, not really, but channels. Oh, there's that. Channels is keyframes, expressions, and constraints. No. Save and close. Export. Okay, so Meta Witcher. Nope. Maya to ZBrush. MetaHuman Witcher. This is like, I'm gonna just call these base meshes. They're sub-D base meshes, so we'll start like that. Okay, we could have redone it here, and there are presets. Nope. No. I don't know what that is. Units, conversion. Where's scale? Scale factor automatic. Now I wonder. We'll find out. Anyway, once I set this up, this exporting workflow to ZBrush, I just don't touch the settings again. Though then I have to get them correct for Unreal Engine 2, but those ones I know by heart. It's the ZBrush ones are kind of new. Okay, so let's bring in. Can I just change this one? I think with an import. Can you import FBX from here? Is it only OBJ? We'll find out. Maya to ZBrush. Okay, we can't FBX from here, possibly. Gonna give me some options. Okay. I mean, this is really hopeful. Import mats as polygroups would be great. Import mats as subtools. Okay, so you could subtool. Okay. So what I could do is I could give every single mesh its own material and then do import mats as subtools. And if it kept the names, I would consider that. I would then lose any polygroups I did, which would be sad. That would make sculpting this considerably harder if I lose the polygroups. But that's one way to do this. Smooth sets. I don't know if I can do that in Maya. But if we batch that export all together and every single thing had a different subtool, had a different material, it would do it. But let's see how this goes. Oh, what? Okay, never mind. Okay. Okay, never mind. We're good. Oh, it did it. Holy shit, it did it. Okay. So when you so why did that do it show the other way? So if you FBX import, it will strip them out like this by default. Well, that's good to know. That's all I wanted GoZ to damn do. Couldn't even do it. Well, I spent a long time worrying about that for nothing. That's good. That's perfect. My goodness. Let's double check if the shoulders retained and the scale looks good. Let's look at the brushes. Oh, and the brushes are good? Okay, fuck GoZ, man. It's just awful. Let's try this. Hey, they're even different polygroups. Yay. Okay, cool. Wow, that's great. I just spent however long. How long has this been? I think I spent full 2 hours doing this really wrong. But I'm glad this works. That's great to know. I'm going to save this. I did split it out FBX style. Amazing. Full amazing. I'm an idiot. Or I just don't know ZBrush that well. So we're in ZBrush. Yeah, let's call it this. We're going to overwrite that. Z project. And then I think it always saves it when you do this. I don't know, but I'm going to always save as at the end. Oh my God. Oh my absolute God. So the actual part of that. So one of the main things that can get sculpted. So a lot of this is just going to be like little bits of like normal texture kind of like added to this, which will change the lighting, some stitches. Like at the end of the day, we want stitches from this piece. We want stitches on the gloves, and we want stitches here. This is like leather. This is like padded. We're going to put the padding on the cloth and some stitches here and some reshaping overall on these pieces and stitches, unfortunately, on every single stupid piece of leather belt that I decided to add to this character. It all needs stitches. So gotta think about a strategy for approaching sculpting, like how many goddamn objects did I put into this project? So many. I'm gonna start with this underlayer, see how that goes. Oh my God, I'm so happy I kept the names. Oh my goodness, that is excellent. So no symmetry, unfortunately. So let's start to subdivide this. 30,000, 120,000. Okay. And the scale's right. GoZ messed up my scale, which it's probably some settings in the FBX. There's just too much black box in the GoZ. Like I just don't have control over it. And now my draw size is correct. This is so much better. So actually we can go back to symmetry for this part. Let's just take the move tool. We're gonna pull this away a little bit. But we don't want to get too crazy in here. We can start sculpting some stuff, but this whole area is the hardest part of rigging this, especially back to the MetaHuman skeleton. The MetaHuman skeleton's very crazy, very much different than like any other game skeleton. That's kind of it's like a VFX skeleton. I don't think many games are rigging like that, like, other than like AAA like Naughty Dog games or something. Yeah, so I'm just gonna start like just doing some like folds. So the folds are based now on the fact that there's armor in them. So something I can kind of do, I'm not sure how much worth it has, is actually just start to move. Just stay like in this kind of, what? Oh no, I forget what adjust last does. Crap. Oh, adjust last stroke. Okay, well, we didn't really do anything, but there's this whole like replaying the stroke over and over again. I don't really do a ton of that stuff. So we're in sim. So we could even come down and like stay like in here and just start to like fill this up, because this is supposed to be like padded. Do I even have it open? Yeah, so it's like, pretty little bit bigger. So that's what we're looking to sculpt in. Like one kind of like big primary, like I'm an elbow kind of a wrinkle, not too many. And then we have to sculpt in the padding. And we're gonna rely on the normal map to make this look like it's actually padded cloth and not actually try to do anything too crazy in Substance Painter on that front. You could also, if you UV this straight, you could add the stitching in Substance Painter. But design-wise, it's harder to control. Like in 3D, like where it's going to show up, it's like kind of, I don't know. It feels like too much like guessing versus just drawing the stitch on, like where it is in 3D. I think that's probably better. Just like kind of generally filling it out. And I'm really bad at, I'm trying to, oh no. Was it this? I'm using a Wacom tablet, and I just started using this new Wacom tablet. So they have like little buttons on the side that you map like Alt and Shift to, and I don't have it memorized yet. Kind of getting it there. So just kind of like pulling this out like a little bit. Let's go back to the front. This got a little funnier like that. But from here, like this got extracted from his skin, so it's like it's really easy for it to just look like it's skin and not on top of it. So that's kind of making it like a little bit thicker. I hope that's saving the project. I don't really know what that does. Okay, so next step is going to be like art. Like you don't really want to overdo the folds here, because a lot of the time the arm is straight and there shouldn't be too much there. It's only when the elbow like really bends that there would be like a ton of, I forget what they call it. It's like not stretched here, but then it pulls towards it. Like this part's like anchored. This is the elbows that anchor, like the shoulders that anchor, and then it kind of drapes and stretches away. But that's only when the elbows actually closed. So considering we do A posing, it's like you just need like 1 or 2 wrinkles in here that like it's like kind of like they call like memory folds. It's like it's likely to start doing that, but it's not like it's always there. This brush is gigantic. So even at this poly resolution, what do we use? 8K? I mean, it's tiny. But it's like, you know, when this folds, there's like very likely, oh, where's lazy mouse on? Oh, actually, I would take that probably. It's like, there's like some sort of wrinkle here. So I'll go up again. I crashed last time. I was like switching between these, but I think it's the GoZ, man. The GoZ files just add too much to this. But it's like, there is like kind of a suggestion of a wrinkle here, but we don't want to get like too crazy with it. But like something like this just starts to like kind of imply it almost enough. And so I wrinkled over the, how far can I go back? Over like the actual elbow joint is like here. So kind of go like to the side of it. And I feel like that's all you really need for wrinkles on a piece like this. We don't have to go too nuts because it's mostly covered by armor. So I'm gonna go up a level. And you do have to eventually fade it back in. Looks like we got to go even higher. Something around here. Ooh, I can't even tell which direction it's going. And my brush strokes are not super even. Oh, are we in symmetry? Yeah, I'll take symmetry for now. It's fine, like whatever. And then they fade like kind of like in. So I'm not gonna go like too crazy. And like even back here, it's like I'm not like, you know, like it would pull and like they would start to pull from like this direction, but like I'm not even sure we want to add too much of this. In that I don't think I'm going to like this is pure normal map. I don't think I'm gonna actually add like topology to hold this in the low poly or something like that. I don't know, is there an elbow there? I don't know if that's a thing. I just should look at some reference. And then like one generally that's a little bit heavy. I don't know what the idea is. What you think about like, so it's like kind of in like this is kind of like should be like right up against it. And is there like a pressure fold like right next to it like this? Like not really sure. But so this is pulling from here, but it's being kind of then anchored at this point. But I feel like there's still like kind of again a reference with a move. But I could see like a fold pulling from like here. And then generally we're looking at like folds kind of going in like this direction, like that, something like this. Just so there's like some general like undulation or whatever. Like there's like some folding happening. Like it's not just like a spandex suit or something. But not too much. I don't know where this fold's going. I can see like we'll just like bring it out as like a Y. This is a Y fold now. If I connect these pieces, this is a Y fold. I got a little bumpy in there. I just end up using my hardware keyboard. I can't use the little Wacom buttons. Don't like them. So I kind of liked how much was happening there. I have a hard time getting back to the front view. And yeah, this is almost enough to just kind of like, there's like some memory going on there. And beat them back in. Maybe a tiny bit back in here. This brush is kind of big. And like, do we really need a fold like here? And what would it be? So it's like, it's kind of weird because there's armor like pushed right against it. But it's, you know, we could do like an X. I'll try like 2 X's in here and see how it goes. Oops. So I almost need a little bit more resolution, but we could do like 2 of these. Actually, let's do an X into a this. That's fine. Make the brush a little bit smaller. And then we're going to push in around it. Push in here, push in here, push in there, push in there, and then kind of start to smooth it all back together with a slightly bigger. This focal shift is kind of maybe a little strong. Should tighten up the brush a little bit. Trying to get this to be all 1X. And you like hide the body. It's pushed out a little bit too much. Okay, let's take a peek at this now from far away. Actually get back. Okay, so they're not like the most defined. I think having this one pull out a little bit might be good. Push them back. This ridge here is like okay. Having this one pull all the way around would be kind of good. They all kind of die too soon. Like they fold back into being smooth quickly. So something like that. A little bit of X, little bit of Y, and then a little bit of just like rings, like fold rings, and they don't like all come to like a logical conclusion. But I'll just put this one kind of going into there, and then can kind of come and sharpen them up with a Damien standard tool. It's just like a smaller. I'll loop this one, have this one pull all the way around. That's just making this too big now. Just trying to. So I went a little heavier than I was. I think I was wanted to. But okay, so something like that. They're just like a little bit clothy and symmetrical, but oh well. A little bit pulled away, and I think they're like a little bit too like spandexy versus like heavy cloth. Like if we were simulating this, it's like a little bit too defined. But they're just gonna be a texture. They're not. I'm not gonna probably even model out this bump. It'll just be straight through. So it's not gonna really be there in like 3D. Okay, so as far as the padded cloth look, how do you zoom in Photoshop? It's not Control Plus. It is Control Plus. They're basically stitches that push in a lot. So it's like a Damien standard all the way through, with stitches over it, and then in between the stitches are Z and X's. So it's like Z, X, Z, X, Z, X the whole way through. And I don't have any ZX pre-made alphas, so I'm just gonna do them by hand at like a super high poly, and it might look crazy, I don't know. But they're pretty much like an inch apart, something like that. So like 3 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters, something like that. And if we look at how they come out from the front, trying to figure out where the first one is relative to the corner. I don't have a great shot of it, and they twist there, but that's, well, we're not. If you were projecting these, see these, you can tell these aren't made from Marvelous because it's like they're not perfectly straight, because like the panels would kind of be that way. You just draw them straight in 3D, which is we're human projecting them. They're not even like, I don't think they're like trying to like bunch them or anything. They're just like coming down, and they're kind of random actually. But what's important here is there's 1, 2, 3 basically. You can kind of see 3 at a time is kind of the idea. If I was smart, I would do layers, but instead I'm just going to duplicate the shirt, which is kind of a problem eventually with the names. But I'm going to just duplicate for now. I don't like layers in ZBrush. It confuses me because you have to like bake them or something. I don't understand how you end committing them. So I'm just going to duplicate the shirt in case this phase goes wrong, because it's basically destructive. So now we need to go up to like 1 more. Now we're in like big sculpting territory. We're almost 1 million on like what is just 2 sleeves. I'll still just do this symmetrically, and I'm probably going to use my mouse for this. So I'm going to do Damien standard. We're going to lazy radius like real big. Step 0.05 is still okay. And let's see what like a line like this. Holy shit. Okay, so turn this way. I'm not on a mouse, so I'm doing like full intensity, but that's with a mouse you get even intensity is the idea. Okay, that's not enough. Versus my tablet, I'm like, I don't want the pressure sensitivity. I just want like a straight line. Okay, we're getting there. That's kind of it. That's kind of enough. But then maybe like a little bigger. Not enough dots. The step is not enough. But when you make this step small, it like, you got to balance out the intensity basically. Yeah, right. So like I just changed the steps. So they're like 0.02. It's getting there. We don't really have to worry about this underpiece, but it's something to keep in mind. That like really, even if this pushes in, it shouldn't hit like that mesh in there. Damn, this got wobbly and weird when we sculpted into it. So I think the sculpts is kind of, the cloth sculpt's pretty shit. Yeah, it got so bulgy. What the fuck? Okay, so maybe I'm gonna do like a quick, just like bring this back in. Like I just want like general. Oh, it got like really bulgy in the high as we smooth it out. So I'm just gonna start pushing that stuff back into the body. Like we're in symmetry still, right? So like I don't want it to push out so much because we're not gonna model that. I'm not going to. We just want like some normal. This is all just gonna be normal map breakout, and this thing's gonna be basically a cylinder when I low poly it. Yeah, I'll just kind of like undo that, but just wanted like a little bit of like kind of like noise, and this was very round and weird. Anyway, so not the best cloth sculpt, but I'd rather be like less detailed. So we're basically sculpting it all out. Oh well. But I think we got a good, got a good one of these going now. Okay. So what's that under there? Is that the base mesh? That's the body mesh. I'm gonna hide that. Like I guess I don't really care if it's like cutting into it too much. Means we should have probably puffed this part out a little bit more. Something like that. But then straighter. Yeah, this shape got real funny. Oh well. Can we go like a little bit more? So it is gonna kind of maybe cut into the bottom body. So that's going to be one. I wonder if this is painting through like even, I think it is. Two, not perfect, but I'll just keep going at this spacing roughly and just kind of see how it looks. 3, 4, you could definitely remove the shoulder piece, but I kind of want to just be mindful of where it is. Yeah, these bumps came out awful. Bad sculpting. Push it in a little further. But if I just get the general look, I'm happy. I'm not trying to be like it doesn't have to be like a perfect padded shirt. This one, and then like one more in between those, and we're good. A little bit. Should try to do that corner a little bit better. Nope. I'm sure there's like a nice way of like isoing out the body from the arm. I don't really know how to do it though. We seem to have not pushed in so hard here. And that's kind of like a crucial part of the pattern. So maybe if I go back the other way. And screw that up. Lazy Mouse is its own video game. Well, you know. Not perfect, but we're like sculpting in like the padding part. Oh, they're so bubbly and bulgy. So what if I come down a subdiv? Ugh. I don't know how they got so bulgy. Like, I don't know. I sculpted it, and then like when I smoothed it, it really didn't turn out the way I wanted. But sculpting clothes, definitely its own thing. So you kind of want like the move as big as you want, and then it fades out over the focal shift. Just like, I don't want to lose like the kind of lines I have. Those are fine. I just want to be like less like this. Hey, what's up with your iPad in there? Yeah, they came out too bulgy and bumpy, but oh well. Let's just see if I can do a better job in the pants. Oh no. Yeah, they're too bumpy. That will kind of show up. But I always have the other shirt to try doing it again. So this is just like kind of a practice run at this. So back to regular standard. I'm gonna smooth all the way up. I think are we at max here? 500. That's a lot, I guess. And then we sculpt in. If you had an alpha brush, you just like alpha brush like cloth folds. But it's basically like at what frequency? They're pretty small. They're really small. They're like, we'll see how this looks. Yeah, they're like around this size. So it's kind of like, they're all kind of pulling at each stitch. So I haven't even put the stitches in. But it's kind of like straight across. I can maybe go a little stronger than this. And then like Z's. We don't really want these pulls though. And then like, they just kind of like connect through and then do like X's sometimes, like they'll cross. I gotta need to go a little higher. I gotta come smooth these all out. And they're all just kind of like pulling from this and fading. But then it's also pulling here, so they end up kind of like blending together. Wow, this would take a long time if I'm gonna do this for the whole thing. Alphas of this would make this a lot easier. I guess I'll just do this whole row here. Is this the intensity? Do I need more intensity with this, or it just takes this long, I guess? And this resolution's actually a little low. You can see like the faceting on it right now. So these are kind of like at the moment like drawn like stitches. Oh, you know what it is? So before you do it, before I go back, I gotta push them in. So this is pushing in, kind of opposite them, which just defines the pattern a bit more. So pushing in, pushing in. So right now they're more like embossed like sculpture than they are like actual folds. When I cut in too far. And we need a little bit more resolution because they're what's it called? They're faceted. They're very faceted now. And we might have needed to use like a slightly smaller brush. And we want to get rid of these like big pimply dots, which is like me pushing too hard or overlapping with a circle alpha brush. And kind of fade them back into like looking like folds. So let's see what that looks like from far away. The brush was a little big and it's a little heavy. Again, if we did this on layers, we could just like lower the strength of everything. But I'm just gonna kind of like flood it back in. So those are kind of like the big folds. This is almost like Damien's standard tool world here, like how small these little folds are really. Like if I'm pushing these in, I can just like re-go over this too. Oops, that's Damien's standard negative. That's the default. But it's almost, I think we have to go one more. So now in 2 million world, it's getting kind of big. So what's this gonna look like? I think we're almost Damien standard in between these little ones. So kind of like defining out. Oh, take this off. Oh, that's why it's off firing. I had the lazy mouse on. They're not quite this small. But there's this line that we're gonna make even bigger through here. And then the stitches like live in there, and then these are pulling away from that. I mean, it kind of is like this level, but I don't know if I'm gonna spend the time to like actually draw like 1,000 of these like little folds like that. Alpha brush would be nice at this point. I'm gonna do a quick version of that. Yeah, it's kind of at this level, and they're pretty deep like that. Like it gets very dark, and they're like ambient occlusion wise, like they're pretty dark. Now the folds are a little later though, so we're really still standard brush like this. I was just wondering if it was like a Damien standard tool like level of like etching, but I don't think so. Damn, what do I need more of this? Oh, okay. We don't like these ends. This is like when you do the standard tool wrong, it does that. Is this spacing? Is that what's going on? See spacing. Yeah, they bulge up like that really quickly on me. So I need to practice the sculpting like that. You don't want that. Oof. Yeah, I don't have great brush control over this stuff. Oh, that's starting to do it a little bit. I drew over the line here. But basically like drawing tubes in like X's and Z's and then lines and then smoothing the transitions back together is kind of what folds are. You can scan real folds, you can simulate folds, and then convert them to alpha brushes for this phase too. Like the Damon standard. And then all this just gets baked to a freaking normal map that's going to be like 200 pixels wide or something. But oh well. Yeah. Okay, this is sloppy, but... And then I want to hold these seams like pretty hard in the final. What are we at, 2 million? Yeah. This is where it's like ZBrush territory to try to sculpt on 2 million polygons. To even display 2 million polygons. Yeah, this 2 million, this resolution with a standard brush, I'm buying it. I think this could be done nicely now. So it's kind of pulls, and then if I mean, to finish the whole arm with a Damien standard finish after this, you could sculpt this arm piece for a full day. It's not very efficient, but I'm kind of glad to have found the right resolution for this though. I think, yeah, this is coming together nicely. Gotta get rid of these like holes like that. Push this piece in here. Okay, so this is gonna take forever to do it this way. I've never sculpted a whole arm like this before. Gotta get rid of these bumps. These bumps look like a brush. Gotta keep them looking like clothy. Yeah, that does it. Not like perfect. They're a little big, actually. Like the brush should be like a tiny bit smaller. And they don't really have that like, yeah, and they're a little bulgy. They should be like flatter or something. So it's probably a mix of then coming back with this tool and like etching out the fact that it's like they kind of have like a bit of this like radiating vibe where they're like there's like a pinch point here and then they pull out, and then there's like another pinch point here and then they pull out, and then just like kind of art directing that all the way through to make it look realistic. Like we don't have enough of these. Yeah, these cuts are kind of helping. Yeah, that part looks kind of funny. This part got messy too. But yeah, these become big puffy things, and then you can come back and basically cut in the sharp folds through here. I guess we'll let that one be big. And I think it's this mix of like these like V's and like W's or whatever almost that like come out from here, like this, that define the, actually looks like cloth, like pulling. I don't know about this shape, kind of doesn't work out. So we don't want this like big puffy, like big round pillowy parts really. It could almost come in like polish or like dynamic trim brush them a little bit. So it's almost, instead of using like the negative, like the alt standard brush, you just use a Damien, and then you get like a nice clean cut. So this probably then gets smoothed over like the whole thing a bit. Make them strong cuts, and then try to fold them back a little bit. So it's a little heavy-handed, I think, still, but basically doing that all the way around. And they're a little strong here, but once we bake them to a normal, and it's going to be a very matte cloth normal or material, so like you're not going to have these highlights. So like basically the bright to dark on this final object isn't this shiny, so it's going to be a lower contrast. But you only get through experience, which I don't have. How strong to push this based on the normal, like, you know, to see like what the final result looks like. Man, so that's a bit of work to finish this with. So I'm gonna try to do like a really fast version of this now. I don't like how these bulge like that. I don't know if that's me just being like bad with the pressure. And then we definitely come back and cut all of the actually we want it to be even smaller. But we have to recut the Damien standard tool again and then stick the stitches in there. So it's a lot of work. And then this starts to be kind of suspect up here, what we're going to do here. But we'll end it like around here. Yeah, it like piles up really quickly. I don't like that. Lazy. Okay, so just sculpt all these folds in like all the way. So it's like that, but better. So it takes even more time, and it's the whole damn thing. I wonder if someone sculpt this by hand. I feel like it's an alpha brush. You make an alpha of these like little pillows. You can even sim them at like super high poly, and then you just alpha stamp all the way down. Sculpting it seems insane. That's gonna be like my whole day. It's like sculpting that out, and then I have to do the legs the same way, but I don't know. Give it a shot. Just gonna practice some X. This is a Y. The Z. A fold in between. I mean, this isn't quite. This is like a little bit different than that idea, but those are generally the shapes from what I've been studying. So they're so blobby. They came out so blobby. Maybe I just have to be lighter. But it's basically like it can be straight. It can be a straight with a Y coming out. It can be a Z. It's basically like two straights connected at the end, and then it can be like an X. And then if you paint in the negatives of those and then smooth it, it starts to look like cloth. Except this is so bumpy, and the way that the ends, my ends are like building up to a sphere instead of fading off into the cloth, which is the idea. So you just, like I said, you just come back and like super heavy. I'm actually at full intensity on this already. Maybe if I come down a level in resolution, I can smooth these out faster. But they're so bumpy. So it's just my painting technique is just ends in a ball instead of. I think when I'm brushing, I'm like, when I finish the stroke, I'm like pushing down really hard. I have to like do the opposite. When I finish, I have to be like feathering off. It's harder to do. Yeah, it's so. I wonder if I should do like a little bit of lazy mouse, but then it's hard to end and start precisely with the lazy mouse on. Well, see how this finish goes. Recut this in. Oh, what the fuck? Yeah, it's not the right type of cloth folds, but they do. The technique is okay. I learned this from Out School. And a couple different people just kind of loosely paint this way and just practice. And I need to, when I'm doing like each stroke, I need to let go at the end, feather out harder. Damien Standard was so light. I am upside down. Yeah, so it's too heavy. It's too bumpy. But it does generally give the vibe. 1.2 million polygon, and then like this nice hard cut through here. Like this is like the real design call out, and the wrinkles are secondary. But these dark lines coming through from shadow, from depth is really what we're really after. And these are just too bulgy and bumpy, which I think is just like carefully smoothing back out. So given that we're symmetry, I'll just do the whole thing. That's not that bad. The back I might leave like, yeah, like let's finish, but I'll definitely do like these couple strips here. And these strips are a little smaller, so it's not so bad. So I can kind of come reinforce this already through here. That was incredibly sloppy. It seems like the dots aren't enough. Maybe I don't have lazy mouse on right now. Standard. Yeah, I definitely don't have like the touch. But I think the idea is to actually pick pinch points like this and then radiate these kind of like these pieces out of it. I think these are too big too, but big helps me like actually get them drawn out. Yeah, they're so tubey. But then I need to sort out how like these like re-intersect with each other. They're too strong here. That one, this piece is about right. And I'll come back and cut it. And I find if I just like alternate that kind of a pattern like this back and forth, try to resolve how these come together, if that's working. Autosave, sure. Well, I'm glad to be actually sculpting, and also glad that like I was saying, like FBX does separate things by like whatever, by sub-object or however, by hulls, by like individual 3D objects. So ZBrush, if you just do regular ass import from FBX, does it correctly. It saved me a ton of time, and that's what I was expecting to get from Gozi. I think Gozi does the same thing. It's probably calling the same tool, but it was actually crashing on the Maya side. It was crashing trying to save the project out, which is kind of weird. So you would probably paint this all the way through. I'm just going to kind of end it here though, so that it intersects into here, but I don't care. Okay. This is like way too blobby, but it has the right idea, I think, for noise. So we probably want to hide the shoulder pad and just kind of, but not just kind of, I'm going to finish this line, but then just kind of know that it ends here. But this one is like kind of halfway, so I need to kind of see what's going on. So hopefully we're still sculpting here, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's coming out so blobby. But I'll basically, yeah, see this guy, it turns into, I wonder if I should switch the alpha. I see everyone sculpting with this though, for this kind of stuff. Damn standard there. So I need to kind of know where this line is. So we don't see this, so this is officially just reference for sculpting the part that we do see. We never see that. Stand there, what's up with this? Maybe I do need a little bit of lazy mouse to help smooth out the pressure. Or I just need to get better at pressure. Oh, this kind of helps a little bit actually for me. Oh yeah, actually the smooth, that's helping out a lot for me. I just don't have a very smooth, like, natural brush. And again, we really only see this part in here. And this is starting to get kind of odd, actually. The idea is pinch points, and then it kind of radiates out. Like a counter point over here, kind of blend these together. Yeah, and in the end, they just start being Z's and X's. And Y's. Still very standard brush looking, but the smooth brush is definitely helping me out, or the lazy mouse. This will be an interesting time lapse once this is all done. See how this looks at like 10,000 speed or whatever. Okay. Yeah, actually I really like this smooth smooth standard brush. It's kind of helping having it not bunch up so hard on me at the edges. Yeah, this is definitely the move for me. So it's pushing all up. I didn't push much down. I think with a Damien standard tool back like through here, kind of defining these like cuts that like kind of remerge back in with the seam level. Yeah, things just basically start pulling out at the same depth as the seam here. I think I've screwed up the patterns overall, but like the depth of it feels like kind of right. There should be like these kind of patterns coming out. This one pushes back in. This pushes out. That got kind of weird. This part's really bad in here, unfortunately, and it's like way too strong, like super strong. I need to like take like all of this if I did it on a layer and do like half intensity or something. Do we not see this part? Is that what's going on? I think we're probably done with that. Oh, what? Oh no. Oh no, there's upper pads. Where are the upper pads? These ones. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So we don't want to do any more than that. Okay, so we're all done. Done with that piece. Let's look at it back from here. No, it's the right vibe. It's maybe a little heavy, a little strong, but it's the shader too. The shader is very contrasty, but that's about right. Feels about right. How about this? These are pretty visible parts that I didn't cut like all the way. So these have to like, okay, so these are missing like the wraparound pieces like this, like the really like defining the cuts in here like this. These are just too wobbly. Yeah, I had a better technique on this one, so they just came out better. Versus these don't have like these like radiating cuts, and they don't have any like major thing to support them either. Probably should have put the stitches in at this point. It probably should have already put the stitches in. So I'm gonna duplicate, where is it? We're on the shirt 1. So I need to be mindful about this. I did this wrong last time and we had stitches on a shirt and the stitches itself, and that's not good. So we want to keep sculpting on this one. So I'm going to duplicate that. We're on shirt 2. Shirt 2 we're going to delete the stitches off of. This is what's going to happen. Let's see if I can do this correctly. So let's hide this upper armor. Hide both, really. Go get my stitch tool I made. This one probably, and this one, yeah, 100%. What? Oh, you have to delete the subdivs. Okay, so we can delete the subdivs under. We're working on shirt 2 now. Those are pretty good. That's pretty. I'll just take it. I don't care. And I'm gonna try to stitch it all at once. Oh no, kind of it. Through here. Oh no, it's gonna go into the damn. I should have hit the glove. Damn it! Gotta hide this glove too. All right. Too much subtools in here. Oh my god, all the straps. I mean, it's good to know where the glove ends so we don't like keep, oops, we don't want to keep drawing. A little weird there, but okay. Okay, and more stitches, and we're gonna come delete out the body. Is what's gonna happen after this. I guess adding the stitches after looks kind of okay. I was just wondering. We'll find out. I'm just gonna add them in real quick. And we do not want to be hand painting these in Substance Painter later, so we're gonna put these in as its own vertex group in the high poly, so they'll show up as a color map in Substance Painter. Hopefully, I could probably lose the chest armor at this point. Yeah, placing these stitches in ZBrush is like, I despise this program, but that's going to be a lot easier than trying to. I would literally be placing stitch after stitch after stitch in Maya by hand. This is a little faster, and they're still semi-procedural. Once they're in spline form, I can still like change the size procedurally, but now I can't. Now they're baked on. Okay, so these are stitches. Where did it go? So we can put the gloves back on for now, though it might be helpful to not have them on. And this is now, as we polyframe it, oh god, polyframe is so dense. Oh, so how do you commit this to not being a curve? I don't know how you end that. I don't know. Turning off and on subs by the solo button. Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. So I hid the underlying mesh, and I'm going to delete hidden. So now this, oh, please tell me I had symmetry on. Okay, thank God we did. These stitches are now their own subgroup or subtool, this thing. And you need a name. You are shirt stitches. I don't trust GoZ, but if GoZ did work, when I re-pooped this back into Maya, I made these objects here and they would still come back over. I don't trust that shit, so I'm going to do it by hand. But there's the stitches kind of there for reference. They're like a weird color. Oh, because they're polyframed. I don't know how do you know how to turn off this? This is still a spline. Do you know how to end that? I don't know how you end that spline other than, you know what I can do? I can just draw another one where you don't see it. But it's always going to be a spline. I don't know how you end the spline tool. Like, stop being a curve. I'm going to Google it real quick because you drive me nuts. ZBrush, like, end. That's not, obviously, stroke. Like, how do you end it? Lock end? No. I mean, I can convert them. I could like Z, whatever called it. I could like, I mean, that's what we're doing, yeah. Yeah. Tip, modifier mesh preview. Well, if you're happy with the curve, but drew it the wrong mesh, you can change it, right? How do you end the curve part? Like, I drew it. When you draw another one, it ends, but how do you just like stop being a curve? Do I click make poly 3D? I really don't like clicking these buttons randomly. It'll like switch me out of here, and I don't like that. Let's save. Much fear of ZBrush. I don't know how. There's lots of parts of this I just don't understand. I guess I'll just leave it a curve. It's annoying because then this curve renders through. It's just ugly to deal with, but we'll leave it. So we're sculpting on this now, and so now we have the stitches, right? So it's like kind of the full look. It's a little severe, but a lot of it's shader, and then the rest of it is painted kind of shitty. I kind of like this one though. This one's turning out okay. So the move for me is to be in the, this is all relative, but like in the 2 millions standard brush, 12 radius, and this makes like nice tubes for me. So like, the shoulder must not be seen here. I think this is like completely invisible. We don't need to spend too much sculpting stuff that we never see. Oh my God, never mind. It's like way down here. Okay, this we need to know. Okay, so it starts around, these two start around like here. So we'll just try to do them like at once, like kind of quickly. Start with this one. So they start like around here. Oh yeah, this is making a nice even tube for me. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. It's all about finding the right tool and the right brush setting. Then we can come out from here. I don't know how that feels. I guess we could call that an X or something. That's taking too much thinking too. We should just keep less thinky, make smooth tubes. But yeah, I kind of like my X way, X and Y's approach versus thinking about the pulling. I think the pulling happens when I'm going into like the negative space. I'm like cutting them out like after I smooth this. I don't know. After I sculpt like 500 of these little folds onto this mesh, I'll maybe have a better idea. Nah, we kind of need the glove to be gone. Oh, you're saying solo, yeah? That's a quick way. Yeah, you're right. That's definitely just like generally. These should, just to be safe, go like, at least one layer through. Best one is, they're all bad, but this one I guess so far. These have kind of lost their way. They're just random tubes now. Oh. Yeah, these are more like draping than they are pulling, because they're all basically pull folds from the stitches. So this is not the right form. But I'm practicing. Oh, there was no need. I'd rather smooth than undo at this point. Okay. It's the vibes. This is like one part of the character, so. And it's taking a considerable amount of time for how much I care about how nice the shirt pads look, but say I kind of like Witcher era stuff. I mean, who does it? I mean, like Attack on Titans, this era, like there's a lot of padded shirts basically. It's like it's all this kind of era, like halfway Tudor medieval looking. This stuff, it's in like every video game. Final Fantasy Knights, Paladins, Witcher, pretty much everything except for Naruto. What's the other one? And I guess I'm watching Demon Slayers, like not really, like you wouldn't have this kind of stuff in it. So I'm going way heavy, but again, I'm not gonna like, each one of these little folds doesn't get like represented in the low topo, so it's just gonna be normal maps. So even, I guess technically in Substance Painter, if I was like, okay, this painting normal is like so high, like it's way too high, I could technically like diffuse or lower the normal height on like just the because this will bake into Substance Painter as a map. I could technically like kind of paint that away. I've never done that before, but it's probably not too hard. You just multiply, or you paint the default normal color over this at like a low opacity. And it could just like kind of lower the overall height there. This is not going great. Should probably look at a little bit more reference. But yeah, this smooth brush tool allows me to fade out. Like I draw and it fades out at the end, versus like when I don't use it, it bulges into little bubbles at the end. So that's probably what this is generally for, I guess. Other than smoothing it out, it smooths out my intensity too, which is helpful. So it's better if they cross, I think. Even though that's more of a drape fold, and these are really more pinching, I think it just looks better if they just completely cross, like all the way across. But I don't know. I think we're done. We're probably sculpting like all this stuff that's like completely under there. I'm in solo. But it's solo, but I also turn them off here. Oh no, that's all technically there. Okay, and so this is, maybe we draw the stitches again after, because like I've sculpted in the stitch. We've gone over the stitches maybe. They're not perfectly in there either, but they're just polygons. We can do the final like if we like want these to, this is pretty bad. So if we want them to be perfect, I can move them here with a move tool in Maya. They're just meshes, little meshes. Okay, so heart, just these 2 rows. That's it. Okay, that's not so bad. And now that I know the right tool, the next time I go to do this, I'll be hopefully even faster. So for this one, we might as well just do the whole thing. Even though this is partially done, we have to do the whole thing basically. So solo in this case is probably the move. So basically all the way down here. So let's see if we just do this fast. I need a Damien standard tool to just kind of hold this line for me design-wise, like right here. We never see this line, but that would be another thing. It's like if I wanted to be able to use this shirt without the armor, look how bubbly this is over there. That's without the smooth tool, so I can like see the evolution of me doing this even on the same garment. I guess I could just start it all over from scratch once I feel like I know how to do this. But take a quick peek again. Yeah, mine are way too strong, but and it's way better if they cut all the way across. It's X's and Z's, and I think they're just a little bit big the way that I've done it, and they're just too strong, and I don't like layers because I don't know how to use them really. But it's pretty much like cut all the way across. Does it match another one completely? Right, this is a Z. The negative space maybe just gets pushed in, or does it come across like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, I used the Wacom buttons are mapped to like right click or something, so it took over the viewport. But does it Z and they're like individual, or does it like cross back over with like another one? This happens sometimes, and it's just like drawing these out nicely, and then it can Y out from the middle of it like this. Or does it connect? So that's like branching from the middle of the stroke, or does it come back directly after like this? And I think just like having an eye for the design, what designs look nice and possibly look like we could turn this one into an X. I don't know. When I look at Final Fantasy clothing and stuff like that, in Witcher, it's like this is not simulated. There might be like some simulated alpha brushes that were used, but they're hand painted. Kind of, and you weight this normal detail towards like what part of the mesh the camera's gonna see. Like it's not like evenly distributed, and then towards the like pinch points and rigging pain points, it's like you don't put too much there. That makes it harder. So kind of alt push back in. So this is alt normal brush, or yeah, standard brush. And go back and have like this was like a much, I mean these folds matter less because they're in the back, but this is like a much more sparse approach to it, which I can't say I like, and they're too strong. But like, is the intensity? Wait, no, oh no. Well, I should do this at the end, but anyway, just like kind of like, yeah, it's like motion back in a little bit. They're just too strong. But I should probably just do that at the end. Smush these all back. Yeah, so that one was too loose the way I did that. Now my brush is gigantic. I don't remember what brush size I liked, but that was like too big. I haven't done the Damien standard tool either, and they weren't wrapping all the way around on this side. I feel like this is a little bit. And then yeah, doing the negative Damien standard brush sculpting after it, I think is gonna help. Now there's I think the pad's like right here, but I'm not really gonna sculpt anything that would inform that. Go a little smaller. Just gonna keep sculpting like the normal way I've been doing it. So this is like all pulling to like this one point here. This one have it be like a little bit more relaxed. Doesn't really matter how it terminates up there, right? And then this one maybe we'll just drop like an X through here, and this one's kind of pinching, something like this. So I think overall, like for scale, for a padded shirt, these strokes are a little too wide and they're too strong. So maybe on the pants I'll attempt to do it on a layer. So this is starting to kind of like just more maybe radiate the fact that this is an anchor point and this is pulling, but there are these like this is like the micro padded shirt pattern where like there's like stuffing inside of this and it's pulling up on it's all like anchoring from the stitch. Yeah, this brush is too big. But I think just generally they read better if they cross all the way over versus like the ones that kind of end up in the middle, like the one I just made. and what didn't. Oh, this is like the very beginning when I was like, oh, that looks so bumpily. Like that doesn't look like cloth. I feel like it looks like cloth when they go all the way across, and especially if you don't see where it terminates. So it's kind of like a weird Z, a V. I'll do like one of the triple ones. Wow, they're so like look like Cheetos. But maybe this is what the block and pass always look like of the sculpts. Just get like that first pass of like detail. I feel like this brush is still a little bit big, but I'm just gonna finish like this. X this one. Yeah, these are kind of warping together. Then I'm gonna Damien standard the whole thing. These two pieces, and pretty much move on. I want to stay here too long, but it's been kind of interesting. But smooth normal tool is definitely my brush tool, and these came out so strong back here. Just gotta like smooth this all the way back down after. Yeah, then I don't know if the size matters so much, but then the thing that sells this to me is that like you kind of hold this really deep ridge here for where the stitch is gonna live. It might even need to be like a little thick, like wider, and then certain things start to pull at that same depth, like these like cuts, but they're not all perfect. Like that's a little too heavy. But it's these like high contrast cuts afterwards that take this like very like bumpy thing and turns it into like more of a. So I'll take lazy back a little bit for this. 32 is a lot, but I'll take it. That's good for this piece. And then you like really cut them in. Like these are the high contrast folds. The other ones are kind of like subtle. Yeah, this is awful. That was like one of the first ones I did before I discovered Lazy Mouse Standard Brush is the move. I could redo it. Probably pull this down a lot now. Yeah, even lazy. Yeah, I think I need Lazy Mouse because it's like helps when you have bad brush technique. So just like kind of, I mean, this is like if you were painting, you're painting in shadows. You're painting in where there's like a big ridge right next to it, basically. I guess I'm just kind of like, I don't know if that's the right move or not. Just like kind of help defining out these ridges by pushing them back in. And then it's like drawing wrinkles. You're drawing like little pinch points of lines. I don't know if it's good to cut through like this. Probably not. It's a good place to experiment though on the back of the arm where it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Probably having simulated alpha brushes for this versus hand painting is the move, but I haven't taken the time to make alpha brushes for this yet. At least I made the insert stitch brush. That was the thing. Okay, now I'm gonna just like kind of sloppy down here. This is like drawing at this point. I'm like drawing wrinkles like in 2D. That's probably, and I need to do like the smoothing after. Like they're never that hard, right? It's like Damien standard smooth, Damien standard smooth. That looks okay. Just trying to hide the brushstroke part of it. So what is this like under or something? I'm starting to feel like the armor is over that at this point. Yeah, Damien gotta smooth back out these hard cuts. This stuff gotta get smoothed back in. And then yeah, this one's really bad. Luckily it's under the arm, so it's like whatever, I'll just leave it. Yeah, and I kind of like gave up here. But okay, let's call it for this arm piece. I have to do, like 50 other pieces. Let's see. So that's that, and the stitches. What are you doing solo? Yeah. Okay. So still a learning process, but yeah, it definitely has it. Luckily on this part, I feel like it's okay. So it has that kind of like poofy, wrinkly, this vibe. Maybe a little bit strong. So this is like a little bit more like satin, like how bubbly it is. But if we kind of like reduce the normal map, it'll look more padded. Like if we were simulating this cloth would have been too thin, basically. But it was still a finish. It was basically depth. So if I do that again on the pants, the same thing, what we want to do is do it on a layer. And then after I do this, you just kind of pull the alpha of the layer out a little bit. I don't trust quick save. I don't really know what that's doing. So I'm going to save as. The cloth is one of the more intense things that need to get sculpted. Everything else is like really the armor, like the hard stuff doesn't really need to be sculpted all that much. It's the cloth that, like, if you don't sculpt it, just looks like plastic, just looks like that. So I'm going to do that same thing here because these are padded, same exact idea, and that's leather. So the leather is that with bigger strokes, basically. And again, I did the normals like way too hard, or way too much Z depth. So we'll do the pants. Let's see how much room I gave them above. Oh, a good amount, like a whole subdivision. So we'll do the whole thing though, I think. What's up, Josh? Is the clothing vanilla Unreal clothing cloth simulation? Yep. Yeah, and done kind of poorly as well. But yeah, the cloth sim in that is Apex cloth, so it's NVIDIA's solver. It's the one that's been in Unreal Engine for a long time. If you're using Unreal Engine 5, like main branch and Chaos Cloth, their new cloth engine is it's pretty good. A couple people Inu Games posted like a pretty nice demo of it. That's what I'll be using eventually, but I'm basically moving my whole pipeline back to Unreal Engine 4.27 for now, so we don't get any of that fun stuff. But eventually, when Unreal Engine 5 is stable enough for me to like ship a game with it, I'll definitely be using it. But all my VTubing stuff as well, or whatever we call this, it's all 4.27. 5 is like just absolute crash fest. I can't actually use it. A lot of cool stuff to play with and work with, but it's really unstable. No likey. Okay, so this one, do we have polygroups? Thank God we do. We do. So what I can do now is I can like sculpt this as a padded cloth, like we just did, but then not touch this. If I do this correctly, I can do like that. Nope. This. Okay, so that hid these. So now I think if I sculpt on this, it won't do it down here. I could be wrong though. I could also split them into different tools, but it's nice to have this poly grouping, which came from the materials. Or I could just not be lazy and not pull the stroke down into the actual thing. But who knows? So let's go into the subdiv world. Yeah, so these need shaping even before I sculpt them, which makes sense, or like detail sculpt. But let's get into the 1.1 million. That seems probably close to what these were at to pull off those kind of like wrinkles up there. Chaos requires the source code version of the engine. They told me that it's been shipping in the engine for a while, but you have to turn it on. Whereas otherwise the Apex cloth is what is going to be running. And I think what's going to happen is with the first main branch Unreal Engine release, that Chaos Cloth will be the default one. But I think there's Chaos Cloth even in 2.7, but all the tests I've been seeing are people who are doing main branch source code UE5 right now. But I don't know the full story. That's kind of generally what I've been seeing. So, see, I did like all of that. I did like a little bit of like pre-big fold sculpting, and then you do this, and it's like, where even is it? It basically just showed up in this silhouette, and that I pulled this, I draped this a tiny bit. These are like skin tight. I mean, like the way that he's wearing them, there's no like bulge here or there. They're pretty much like someone like custom tailored pants to him. Like you would have had to measure this dude and like you would have had to do like a lot of custom tailoring to have something fit your body this closely, which maybe they did back then, but like I don't have any pants that fit me that like that. Oh no, spacebar? That's what spacebar does? Who knew? So I don't think like a ton of sculpting needs to happen here. I'm gonna subdivide this too, just to see what it really looks like. Which is, oh my god, at least they're named. Oh, I'm so glad it imports it like this. I was getting really kind of discouraged with the Gozy. I was like, oh no, am I really gonna be doing it like this? Let's get this thing into the millions too. 700,000, we'll leave it. So that's what the rounded version looks like of that. So we'll kind of like shape the low poly pants just to like, the final sculpting phase of this is just gonna pull this back. Even in like this phase, yeah, we'll start to just like kind of move things around a little bit, like because that one's smooth and it's like make them a little bit puffed out. But Gozy was not working for me like at all. I don't know what happened. Maybe it works for someone. So just kind of pull these out a little bit. This is just like holding this silhouette a little bit nicer. And it's fine to kind of like, I feel like Well, I'm not touching this. This we don't want. We want perfect quads, and we want them nowhere near each other when it comes to rigging that. As I come in here and touch it a little bit. Okay, so we're technically touching the boot, which if I polygrouped them off, I could keep them separate, but that's okay. The boot needs a little bit of shape. Actually, the boots need a... Oh, no, so that's not the boot. That's like the leather legging. The boots, I need to completely do the sculpting of this. This is just pure base mesh I made. So actually turning them into boots happens in ZBrush now, and then we retopple them. But I'm okay with this, like, you know, this silhouette of being like a little bit like that. Like it kind of droops a little bit here. And they get a little bit wider too, because they're a little bit skin tight, the way I modeled them. And they are connected by like seams, so it's okay. But this is leather. This is cloth, padded cloth, which is pretty thick cloth, like I don't know, like almost like a centimeter thick or something, because it has like puffing in it. And then the leather is kind of similar as well, like a centimeter thick or something like that, if you were to like simulate it. This is also a phase for like if I cared about the butt. Okay, so the legs are, these were clearly like extracted like bike shorts, which is kind of what this is, but they're maybe a little bit too form-fitting to his like butt. But we don't want to, the closer these get together, the more, the more of an issue that becomes. What can I undo? There we go. So I'm kind of okay with that. And it's funny, in a third-person game, you spend the whole game looking at like this. so the butt kind of matters. Your butt of your character matters a lot more than like the kind of content I make with it. Might spend a little bit more time shaping the butt then. But ZBrush screen space move tool is very clever. The way that it's going to select what polys you're using a normal projection on like this. That's what the red circle is. But then when you move them in screen space. So the combination of those tools is why the ZBrush move tool is so good. In Maya, there's no way to project your selection like this. It doesn't work like that. And it has a built-in soft filter around it, the focal shift. So it's pretty nice for this. And like the inner circle, you're like moving 100%, and then it fades out on the outer circle. So just pretty nice. So we'll call that the shaping. I don't really care that much. From the front, silhouette's all I really care about. On the side, it's like, whatever, it's good enough. Okay, so same sort of finishing for this, and we're not gonna build in any like big primary wrinkles. Whereas if this was like, I don't know, like streetwear, you would sculpt in some like pretty big folds, like folds that fold back on each other, like here, like they piled up or something like that. But for this leather padded stuff, it doesn't. Padded cloth, leather, I don't really need it. So we're in pants, yeah. So let's go all the way. Let's just go full poly at this point. What do we get to? 1.3? Yeah, okay. And we'll just sculpt in those big things again. I'm going to skip the leather crotch part and just do padding. Like it's going to be a seam. It'll be a cloth one. And I could always change it later. Like if, actually, maybe I will put it. But anyway, like there's like basically a seam here, like when you're cutting the pattern of the pants in like Marvelous, it's like there's like a this shape pretty much in 2D. So seams like there, and then from there it radiates out the like they radiate out from the crotch, like these strips of pants. Like if these pants were in Marvelous, you would take the pattern and drop lines straight through them, inner seams or whatever. But it's basically radiating out of his crotch until here it comes out of his waist. So I guess I'll do it with symmetry to start and see if I can get it. Heavy amount of this. Lazy mouse. Damn standard. It's kind of like... I guess that's why they put that big leather piece in there. I was going to try to not model that in. Then you do get this kind of awkward, this line. That's pushing a lot in, so that's a little too strong. At this phase, so what's that? I'll just drop this like way down. We want the line, but we don't want it to like push so hard. Is it the size? Is that what it is? It's probably the size. It was pushing it. Like I want the line. Okay, so that's what Damien Standard size is doing. The size affects how much the mesh around it comes in, and the intensity is like kind of like the initial attack, like this line here. I kind of see why design-wise they have that leather thing there. Also construction-wise, because it's like, where does this go? how did this get added, right? So like really that line probably goes like all the way around to his butt. I don't know how does that work. What's going on back here? How does this terminate? Does it end right there? And then this is like strapped across. I mean, we're not simulating the cloth, but like where does that piece end? I'm going to have it end here, and then I guess we'll model in a bit of a bump. I mean, this is the final design phase of the characters here. So that decision could be made here. And then it's like kind of like we probably do this at like a lower subdivision level at this point. Gotta come back down to around here. Move tool might be actually the move for this to do this. But like add a little bit more material here. Just like push it into like the positive, whereas before it was like kind of behind. Okay, so this might actually just be leather. That's like I understand why that kind of like has to be now. Okay, so I could make this part leather and the retopo. And here I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna add like stitches to it or something like that. I don't think actually, am I? Nah, there's no stitches. There's like kind of like piping on the side of it, but I'm just gonna leave that like this. Okay, fair enough. Let's go back into high poly world, into our 1.3, 1.1, 1 million in here. And the Damien standard was left at like a pretty good place. I'm going to turn up the radius for this. I'm going to draw it with my mouse. Well, let's see if I can do it with my pen. So like basically like at this point, it's coming out of the, here's where I don't want to get into the leather, but I didn't poly group it off. And then here it's like this. It's got a little too thin. And so like that's the main design is that. So do we like how that came out? I think it got a little thin here, so I wanted to stay thicker, so I don't like it. Gonna undo that. Considering this is like a handmade thing, you can do this like without symmetry too, and it would be like kind of acceptable. That's gonna take too long. Yeah, that stays kind of like that. I think this brush is maybe a little too big too, because it's really pushing it in, but once we start going crazy on the high poly sculpting fold stuff, it won't really matter that much. And it's not cutting into the legs, I think, or maybe we did hide the body, but we might be pushing it a little bit too much. At this point I'm just freestyling it. Doesn't really matter, especially back here. It's like whatever. And you definitely could poly group off this leather part so I don't touch it by accident. I'll take some, it's just straight through. It's kind of weird actually how this, I'm gonna try to stay away from that actually. Pull it here. And they have it kind of like pulling one more kind of like in, like this. No, they do have it kind of pulling in. I think that's kind of weird though. I think they might have done on that character, I'm just gonna leave it like this. Well, actually no, I'm gonna have to come and subdivide it. I feel like that patterning might have been done in 2D, like it wasn't a 3D pattern design. Okay, that's like, okay, so I guess the screen space angle matters for the Damien standard tool. That's gonna be a weird one. But that's actually the kind of pattern when you cut out a leg. Like if you were building this in Marvelous, that kind of does happen like that. So I'll solo and just kind of pull these all the way up. That one's split, but it doesn't really matter. We come back and reinforce these later after. This is just to help anchor it's the design, and then it anchors the subfolds. Ooh, what? I mean, I don't know. We don't see this, so it's just to help. If I need to kind of, is this coming back into here probably versus going straight up? I don't know. We don't see it, so this doesn't end great, but oh well. That didn't help. Okay, that's it's a little weird, but let me come back to the Oren solo. Just make sure that's not like insane before we turn it into that. I think it's okay. So never mind, we are doing leather because it's just really easy to resolve it that way. Okay, so in the 1 million range, it's probably maybe one higher because the upper body was close to 2 million when I did this. But standard tool with like in the 30s, like 30, 40s, like halfway, and much, much smaller. And so these are really subtle. Like these ones are pretty high frequency. These are very low. Like it's almost that stuff isn't there, but I'm going to do it on a layer. I'm going to try to use a damn ass layer. So I can just basically like fade it away to nothing after. I don't use layers, so I don't even know where they are. Are they in geometry? No, what? Where? Oh, layers is its own thing. Okay. So you usually destroy these after you like bake them right in, but you have control until you like kind of commit. So I'm going to do this. Let me test this. So I'm going to do like that. And then I can, that didn't, wait. Oh yeah. So, okay, wait. There it is. Yeah. So I can kind of like, there's full, and then I can pull it down, which that's what I'll be doing in the end is I'll pull it down. Okay. So let's go back. There we go. Okay. So we're on this untitled layer, which we will call like tight folds or whatever, puffy folds. I don't know the intensity. They're pretty big. That's about right. As far as the size of the folds, a little smaller. No, I think that's okay. It's better to go big for me at the moment, because then I don't have to do as many. So these ones are like way more spread out, it feels like. So start with like the most important strip, which would be these two. Try to not do an awful job. One last look. I mean, we could keep them up. I wonder if someone hand sculpted that. They probably did. Okay, I kind of see it. Yeah, so it's kind of like, I can definitely use less radius and a tiny bit more of this to not have to keep doing it so much. Yeah, there we go. This is it. Yeah. Right, and so this is already too strong, but we'll pull it back later. And so these ones, yeah, they're just like way more relaxed, and the symmetry kind of makes this bad. But right, so pulling a kind of again a common pull point, maybe like this, and these really just have to be kind of like very loosely suggested. So there's kind of a, I mean, we're really talking about the micro pattern, not the actual garments stretching, but there's like, you know, pulling that would happen kind of from that maybe. This is not a separate sub-object, so I need to like kind of not paint on the lower leather part here. Yeah, a little strong here. So let me look at how they kind of fold at the top here. That's like a macro fold, this one. That's like the whole garment folding like that. Yeah, they're very subtle. But we kind of have the right idea from before. And this brush helps make my brush strokes not so bad. Okay, so I'm just like, I mean, these strokes are way more nuanced than before. Like I'm better at, even like now, like a couple minutes later, better at fading them out, the strokes at the end, versus before they were all turning into like little dots, which wasn't good. But this is like actually fading out, which helps me later, or helps me just like immediately not have them look so bad. This is like not the clearest, but we're gonna basically just like fade them into nothing in a bit. This is a drape fold to make an X, so it's not exactly what this is, but I just feel like it's good to throw those in there. Because it's the different, you know what? They don't go all the way across, because if this was padded, like really padded, the whole middle would be raised, and the whole middle is the anchor point. So I actually have fundamentally just kind of approached this the wrong way. These should end in the middle, because the middle is the apex of this cloth fold. Versus pulling them across means that this is loose. Okay, so this is drape, meaning the middle is loose. Whereas what they should be, I'm not changing at this point, but what they should be is more like they apex in the middle. So it really is more of a they end in the middle type of a situation, which implies that the top is like the anchor point. So I fucked this up. Oops. Well, I kind of know, or can vocalize why it's bad at this point, but I'm not stopping. And we're going to fade this out to like 10% of even this probably. That's too big, but well. It's really more about these like kind of like halfway through the middle. They only go halfway through to like here. That one's really strong. I think this brush is possibly too big too. Right, and not that many make them across, I would think. I'm going to smooth and Damien Standard these a little bit too. And then re-Damien Standard the groove at like kind of a bigger size, which will push them all in. They're kind of already pushed in pretty nicely. And then I'll drop like the actual high poly stitch over them too as a separate sub-object. Stop it. Oh my god, zooming in this program. So annoying. I haven't done any negative pushing. I've only pulled out at this point. These are only like Z positive. I haven't done any Z subtract. I'm gonna try to just pull that off with like just the Damien Standard tool to make this go faster. And then smooth all that out and put stitches on them. So there's a butt happening here, so it's kind of like semi-draping, but we're not really doing drape folds. This stuff's like pretty skin tight. But if these were looser pants, it would be like smooth here and then draping down and then catching onto like this point here or something. But that's more like when I do the suit pants, I kind of have to consider that stuff a little bit more. The suits are like usually so dark and such matte, no reflection kind of material that the normal maps don't even show up. If it's like a dark suit with like a dark suity pattern, you don't even see the normal maps ever. Something shiny clothes, you can see this kind of normal map stuff really clearly. Just gonna add some sort of like, oh, okay, go ahead. Just any sort of like breakup at the right frequency in here. I feel like this back part's not as correct, but well. This one's kind of awkward because it's like the middle line's like kind of like right here actually. A couple like all the way through. Okay. And then this one's somewhat important too actually, because we will catch this on like the front profile, so I'll spend a little bit more time pulling out like okay, that's too strong. This is kind of like a weird, I can't get like the other legs in the way. But these ones I'm going to go for just like more like drape folds, so that they from the front they just look like they wrap all the way around. It's more what I care about than them looking like proper pillowy folds. Okay, well, yeah. So this, we don't want this to get. I do want to. I guess the retopo is what really decides how the rig will go, but I don't want this. I'm just gonna leave it pretty empty. So even this might have been too much for this. Okay, so what are the biggest disasters here? Kind of like this. I want to connect here. We're gonna smooth that out. That now just got really bumpy. It became one of the worst parts. And the whole thing is going to get smoothed back down. This wants to be like straighter maybe. This doesn't ever end. This part. I mean, the whole thing needs like a full other pass to kind of try to resolve out each one of these. Maybe make this like a big strong Y here. Turn this one in. It's like an X. Those are not too strong. That one's helpful. I don't like this pattern that kind of happens here, but push that. This is like not defined at all here, like what's actually happening. Push this one. And we're done. So I'm gonna do Damien Standard and then the high poly stitches on it. I'm gonna just use my mouse, crank this thing up. Oh no, I was gonna do one pass through. I think I'm not. I'm just gonna kind of reinforce this a bit. That's pretty damn heavy, but that's why we're here. So this is the kind of thing where like you can remember this stroke and then I could use that stroke to draw the stitches too. But I'm just going to draw the stitches by hand. Oh, no, I got crazy at the end, damn it. Oh, actually this Damien Standard tool is being drawn on a layer. I don't want this layer to go away. I'll have to redo it. Crap. Oh. But I'm going to pull this layer to like half intensity. Oh, this is like really doing it. Yeah, this Damien Sandwich was crazy good. I'll just leave the back like whatever. Okay, so now, I mean, it's a little bit too satiny still. Both of these are a little bit too thin to get these kind of like this much like weft and whatever. If in what's it called? Marvelous. 0.5. Hey, okay. 0.2. It's more like that. 0.3. 0.4. So go a little higher, right? So I think 0.3 was better, but actually the 0.3 was better. I wish I had done this on a layer because this is like full satin in here. Way too much detail. I could probably hit the whole thing with a smooth, to be honest, like a global deformer smooth. But I like this depth of that is much better. Done. So I'm gonna duplicate this piece and then draw the stitches and then delete the pants under that. So go to my brushes. This one. Is it the same size? 9 seems awfully large. I don't remember what this should be. 2. Oh, we gotta delete the lower. Make sure we're not doing that on this one. Okay, good. Lazy mouse, really high. Lazy step, doesn't matter for insert brushes, I don't think. What? Oh, a layer's on. Oh, we have to bake the layers in. Bake all? I'm gonna bake these ones too after, I guess. I'll do it after. Can I finally draw the stitching? Oh, those are tiny. Are they even there? They're just not even there. Okay, so we'll do like 5. Wait, they're still not there. Where are my things? Hold on. Where are my stitches? Oh, this is the wrong brush. This is the wrong brush. This one. Let's see what a 5 looks like. Gigantic. 2. There's a step too. Where is it? It's this sub-step, curve step, sub-step, curve step. I think it's this one. Too small. Maybe if I was actually okay, it was the sub-step that was the issue. I'll take it. That's pretty good. I feel like that's like what it was by default. So let's go solo. So we can draw through here. I might Wacom this one. I think I'm going to. So we'll take it all the way up here. So these pants don't exist on their own. They don't have a top. So this is like a onesie for all intents and purposes. I didn't make these like actually modular, where they'd have like belt loops and like a proper ending. I need more Z. I need more. Oh, there's none at all. I was like, wow, it's like, I need help. Okay, there we go. I missed it. So that's too much. It's just like something to help out like the micro jitters that I'm getting here. Yeah, okay. Better with my mouse. I'm gonna use my mouse, but I'll take that one. I gotta keep going here. Wish I knew how to commit to curve. I'll just bake the whole thing to polys at the end. Kind of missed that one, but stitching. Oh no, they're just meshes. I'll mush them back into place after before. These all go back to Maya for the final. So anything like that, it's just a mesh. I'll just get rid of it if it clips over. I mean, I could technically do it in ZBrush too, but okay. Oh, I see it. It matched. It seamed the stitch together. We'll just be a little bit more reserved with that, and I'll finish that in Maya. Okay, get straight then. Medieval clothing. A lot of work. Yes, images on. That's good. Oh, it's double clicking it. You double click. I just figured it out by accident how you finish it. You double click. Epic. Nice. Okay. So these should be polygrouped. Delete hidden. No, it's still a curve. Wait. Oh, that was double click. Oh well, whatever. I don't know what it is. Never mind. I don't know how to do it. So those are the stitches. What are we in solo? There we go. Okay. So we're not doing layers anymore. Subtool. Where are they? What tool is this? This? It's this. Oh, but I gotta also delete the lower legs. This is important. Okay, so we're here. Delete hidden. So now it's just stitches. Okay, cool. Rename. Pants, stitches. And there's a little bit of like, and so that stuff, and I can just kind of scoot. I mean, I could do it now actually, but now that we're just in the stitches itself, I could use the move tool and kind of like get them back, come and delete that out. I guess I'll do that here. It's actually kind of fine. Yeah, just do like any final stretching and just delete that whole hull out in a second. It's pretty good. I'll just stretch this one. Stretch it. Stretch it. Stretch. I take it back. This is much easier in ZBrush. Is that popping? No, it's just the, again, we'll do the final in Maya before we bake it. Pull this one down. Pretty good. I almost want to squish this one back, but I should be able to use this. I hate using this thing. Z modeler, face, delete. Okay, we're on an edge because it's tiny. How hard it is to delete this stupid thing. Okay. Delete. Where are you? Delete single polygon, all polygons, polygroup, island. It's not a polygroup. It's what are they gonna call that in this? It's definitely an island. It might just be island, I think. There we go. Move. Gonna stretch these down a little bit. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit easier in ZBrush. All that, and this is gonna be like a tiny white line in a freaking color map. But they help. They help overall. We'll make them kind of low contrast. Okay, so those are kind of like the most sculpty things that happen. We're not done with the leather, but because they're the most like, I don't know, clothy. So they needed to be converted from, do I have Maya still open? I do. They needed to be converted from like these things, these like very square Minecraft legs, almost like, to high poly. And so when we retopo over them, we can kind of consider maybe adding a little bit of polygons to hold this in the final bake. But everything else, the shoes we're going to do quite a number on, but the high poly stuff, like the hard stuff like this, it doesn't really need a lot of sculpting, because it's not like metal that got like beat into shape. It's pretty much like smooth leather, so we might not do a lot to those actually. And then we're here for this stitch tool to add stitching to this, all the leather straps, the boots. So I'm going to do the leather pieces, and how long has this been? I spent so long not getting Gozy to work. But that's the main sculpting, was that, because like otherwise you would have had to like attempt, you can sim this in Marvelous, but it's like I don't know. I guess if you're better at Marvelous, you can do it there. So I'm going to go back to the pants. I almost want to duplicate this so that I don't wreck it, but I don't know. I'm just going to go for it. So there's basically just a seam in the back and some like big macro folds under the knee and at the crease point of, again, front of knee, back of knee, and then tiny bit of piping. I'll sculpt that, and big seam right down the front and the back. Wrong program. So let's hide the boots, and it's just right down the middle. So big old Damien standard at max poly, big radius. What the? Wait, what? What did it say? Mesh has deformation layers. Oh, we gotta drop out this layers that was going on. Oh yeah, let's bake it. Oh, because it was a half. Yeah, okay. I guess technically I could do this on a layer 2. You really should. I mean, and you probably only bake them at the end. Oh, it could have been a new layer. So I could have left that on another layer. There's a seam, kind of, I don't know how to feel about it, but it's there. And let's see. This is a pretty big design element. So does the seam kind of match up with this one, or is it like in the middle? Slightly in the middle, so they don't like line up. It's not supposed to look like they're like a continuation. So, I mean, it's kind of like here, should be fine. This needed to be smaller maybe, but it's a somewhat subtle loop. So we have this kind of like hard polygon edge from it being a subdivision surface, basically. Let's do 0. And so, oh wow, that's a little strong. Oh, so we're in like big, we're gonna drop out into like lower poly. And it's even too much. Like here. Yeah, and just kind of like bevel this edge more or less back towards slightly more like leather. Like it's a little, it pinches a little too hard. Then I was gonna pipe it too, but I might just not, like whatever. But just get rid, just like gonna plow over that. The whole point of this is just to be a high poly. We just want normal maps, so that's just kind of. Oh wow, that smooth is so strong. Oh, I should use my brush. That's why. Yeah. This is still kind of messy, but just kind of make it look less leathery. I gotta use the brush, or else it smooths like in a massive amount. I probably could have considered that in like the actual low poly sub-D mode to have this transition a little bit smoother like that. This is a pretty subtle seam. I'm gonna go a little bit harder when we're in the millions now. Once again, so Damien standard, is it this is too much and this is not enough? Is that what's going on? I want this to be like a hard seam, kind of like how that is. That's better. Just kind of redo it after we kind of beveled out the edge. Because again, this is just a normal map. And we'll probably, actually I might model a little bit of this part into the boot itself too. Just like really define this as like two pieces coming together. Okay. I think it makes sense to do this first. So that's on a layer, and then I can do another layer. So this is that's that seam, and then this layer is going to be the big macro fold. So there's a chance I like screw this all up and I could just delete the layer versus like duplicating. So this is definitely the move. I just need to kind of start to get comfortable with this kind of stuff. So we're gonna get big, not that big. Something like that. Like that's gonna be the size of the fold. And lazy around us was actually around here was pretty good. So the folds are drape folds. It's basically a big drape fold across the front into a Y. They look symmetrical too. And then one kind of like very small support solo fold. And in the back it's a Y above. It's basically a Y and a support fold. So pretty minimal. Wrong program. So it's definitely helpful to see at this point the boots, because we don't want to sculpt things into the boots. At this point, it would be good to see where the knee joint of the rig is going to be actually, which I don't have. I have no idea where the actual knee is. I think it's here. I think the knee's there. I've kind of lost it in the way that I've sculpted this. I'm gonna say it's here. This seems kind of weird, so we might want to back out to like. I'll see if I can stay at this level. You're gonna try to match the direction that they did it. So it's basically like here. And then it kind of Y's out like this. And this has more of a knee sculpting, so I'm gonna do this again. So it's kind of like scooping across and then goes up, and this part goes down, and there's like one leg here. That's about it. This is kind of awkward. I think you can use clay buildup to seam that. How are they handling that? This sculpt across it. Kind of weird. It's like this. Hey, what's up?
I think they have an hour and a half before they go to classes.
Oh, cool.
It'd be nice to go for like a walk with one girl.
You want to do that now?
In the backyard. There's some people.
Yeah, maybe the woods or something. I don't know if I want the backyard, but yeah, we can. Yeah, but you'll be fine. Those are a little bit bad. Yeah, we can do that. This is my padded shirt. I made padded shirts.
Ooh, it looks like the top looks like Hong Chaeyoung.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like this.
Oh, remember her like attorney jacket?
Yeah, it's a little too satiny. I did a little too thin. So this is too small. I'm just gonna. That's the intensity. Oops. I'm gonna keep making this a little bigger. But I'll call it at these boots basically, and then come. Ooh, way too big. What the? Okay. This got bad. So I'm not very good at sculpting these big leathery ones. It's kind of like the whole thing needs to react to these folds in a way. Like, I'm not really sure. The symmetry is not really helping me. I'm gonna undo all the way out and do them separately. Luckily ZBrush has like unlimited undos. It's kind of incredible. You can have even more. So I'm gonna go asymmetrical for this. The retopo, that'll be fine. The knees are not that big a problem. There's only 2 helper bones when you were rigging this to the MetaHuman, so it's not so bad here. I'm gonna maybe go back a level in subdivision. Like, I think I want like more like smoother, bigger folds. So it's maybe not, it's like around here, this level. I don't know, I'm just trying, like leather. Okay, fair enough. I feel like leather is just bigger. It's just a bigger thing. So picking the brush intensity and what level to sculpt at is like how you simulate cloth in ZBrush. Like when you're sculpting it. I don't think I've nailed that yet. But oh no. But if you're lower poly in the end, it'll be smoother. And more like, it's almost like wants to have almost touch the silhouette a little bit, like through here. I don't know about this. And then do like the Damien standard to like a little bit higher. Yeah, because like leather, these are bigger folds. So I could either like kind of do something similar, but not exactly the same. 2 like that doesn't look very good. So maybe if I make this brush a little smaller. Yeah, changing the brush size is the move to help taper it out like this. And then like one support fold like here. Taper these out a little bit. That's good enough. And then the back just has like one or 2 of these situations. Yeah, I should be tapering the brush a little bit. Maybe a smaller one like that. Same here, so we'll go a little bit bigger for like a big primary fold. And get smaller to taper it out. Taper it out. And then, let's not match it exactly, but like maybe here. A little bit bigger. Nah, that was worse. Like that. Okay, and I could also, it's on its own layer, but I'm just gonna kind of smooth over it now. Just get rid of some of the faceting. I don't like the left side as much. Really smooth this one down. Okay, so then when we go back into like full poly mode, yeah, so now when we go like super high back into the millions, they're more like structural folds. They're like bigger and less clothy, wefty ones. I'm done. That's those. They could probably have. I don't think they have stitches. The leather ones. They definitely could. Okay. So let's turn the dude's body back on. Where is he? It's up here. Pretty sure I can delete out this like history version of that one. Okay, how come this is not straight? No, it kind of is. Like this. Okay, well I spent 2 hours not getting Gozi to work, but to get to here I'm pretty happy. Like everything's in here, it's named, and we're actually doing the thing, so that's what's important. I'm gonna take a quick screenshot. Let's just high poly up the chest and the shoulders. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to take a progress view of this. So let's get into the 3. That's fine. And shoulders. Subdivide those. Fine. And these. Subdivide that. Section in the body makes him bright. Looks kind of nice. But yeah, so we sculpted in the cloth stuff. A little bit too heavy on this. A little too much depth. This one's came out perfect. I think that's exactly the finish. Leather boots is okay. We're just painting on normal maps, essentially on a cylinder. This was too much. A little frilly, but my Witcher's gonna... I might redo this. But there's so many, though. I should have just done layers out of the gate. Just didn't do it. Too much. But now I'm fine using layers. Let's do a window. Cut this. So this is MetaHuman Witcher. ZBrush detail 01. That. And cool, yeah, so at least we're in ZBrush now. Did I save already? I'm going to save again, because I don't think I did, but just to be safe here. Yeah, 03. So we'll pick this up at 03. And hopefully it's just another day or 2 of this. The legs are great? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's more subtle, and I backed out, and I have more understanding on how to do the brush. The standard brush, and having detail, doing layers, you can feather that back versus this is just like hard sculpted in. So I might redo this. It's not going to be that bad now that I have the right tools. I might redo this and then have it more like that, like just not so deep. But that being said, it's still just a normal map. It's not like we're going to rig something like that bumpy. But yeah, so another day of... Well, at least it's probably 2 more days. It's probably I'm gonna say it's probably a day of the armor. So this piece, this, and these armor parts, and the chest. That's probably a day. The belts have stitches. That's not too bad. So maybe that's all one day. So maybe the upper like that, and then probably one day of just this stitches, and then another day of hands. And if I'm really fast, another day of hands. So like one day is hands and boots. Finishing both of those. So I'd say it's by at least 2 days of sculpting this thing out, getting the normal maps sorted out. Basically, I'm just generating normal maps for the most part, finishing out the design. We kind of changed the shape of the butt, added this thing back in there, and then dealing with like really kind of a pain in the ass placements like this is really nice in ZBrush. Yeah, and final shaping. So the hands and the boots need a lot of final shaping. Like I'm going to be moving a lot of like primary form stuff. Whereas the armor is mostly going to be... I mean, what am I even going to do to the armor, to be honest? Like, not much. What's nice is they're in poly groups too. So I could vertex color these. Well, I'd have to select it. But like this rim is a separate material. Which again, in Substance Painter is going to be like kind of necessary. And that stuff happens in the... high poly. So the high poly polygroups here hopefully come back. Actually, I don't know how to do that. Well, anyway, there's one more step after this. Once I sculpt it, going back to Maya high poly, which is technically only needs to actually go to it only needs to go to Substance Painter as a high poly, and then the retop a low poly. So there's a whole other workflow in getting the vertex colors right to make the materials separate easy, because this is leather and that's chainmail. So there's that. And then there's the final low poly generation and UVing and material assignments at that point too, which is like a whole other strategy. This piece is probably, I think, did I UV this already? I don't think I've done a UV pass on this. But this is probably like 3 texture sheets at least, if I want to have like like a nice amount of detail on it. And he's kind of hero character. If he's NPC, it's 1 texture sheet, and everything gets like very little resolution in the final. Let me see. Like I could go in closer to like. It's just still not finished, but I like to just post my work in progresses. Helps me kind of like judge what I have left. Okay, I think that's it. I did a quick save already, so I think we're fine. But yeah, so 2 more days of high poly, 2 more sessions of that. Low topology management into baking, materialing, and then probably like 3 days of rigging this to the MetaHuman skeleton and testing it. And then I'm going full time into game development world with some mocap, but I'm going to be mocapping this character. I don't have another like 2 or 3 weeks of making another character. We're going to be doing game dev stuff. I'm probably going to stream that here too when I do it. It is very MetaHuman heavy programming that I'll be doing, so it's semi-relevant. I'll finish up my control rig on stream too. I already started it though. Sucks. 4.27 control rig sucks. There's no function, so like you just have this massive behemoth control rig. I kind of don't like it. But that's what's going to be going on. Okay, I'm back. Peace.